How's it going, friends and family of the internet? Welcome to the Real AF TV podcast show about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm one of your hosts, Josh LaBaw.
And I am Tim Wagner.
Tim, we just had some dad fucking talk off
Yeah, we did.
line.
Yeah.
So we need this podcast today. It's been a rough week.
It has been. Children are insane.
And if you don't have
nothing you
kids,
can do about it.
and yeah, if you don't have kids, we're dads, and we bring dad shit up every once in a while.
Yep.
And pretty often. And let me tell you, sometimes it's rough and you just need this.
You do. You need to talk about something else. You need to get away for a minute because those children are just on another level of crazy, and there's no arguing with them. They're insane, and they argue you with insanity, and you're just like, you're too young for me to be arguing. You make me feel like an idiot.
You make me feel stupid, but you're the stupid one, you stupid little kid.
Yeah, you're stupid for making me feel stupid. You idiot. Oh, you did it again. You little jerk. Just like, they're too young to be fighting with, but they fight you. So it's just like, I don't know.
I know. Hopefully we don't come off as like two pissed off dads today. I don't think so. I don't think we're going to, because we're already laughing and moving.
And I was already telling you, I'm just killing them with kindness is what I'm trying right now.
Yes.
It's not easy, but I'm just hugging him. I'm dude's throwing left hooks, and I'm just like, I told him I'm gonna hug you until you love me. And I'm getting punched. He can't do shit yet. He's too little. It don't hurt. Just letting him go. Get it out, bro. Get it out. Work it out.
Get it all out.
Throw them bows, dude.
Oh, I wish I had a little sound clip for that. I should just keep that one in the queue.
Maybe I should tell. Yeah, we got the Alexa. Next time I'll do it. Just be like, what? What are you trying to do? Alexa, throw them bows. Throw them bows. Just like, bring it, dude. Throw them. Show me what you got. Maybe that's what I'll do next time. Maybe if killing them with kindness doesn't work, I'll just fucking shit talk them. Just be like, you ain't shit. Give me your best shot. And just,
what are you? 5? You ain't got shit.
Throws a haymaker, and I'm just like, how's your hand feel, bitch?
Oh, that's good. That actually is a good way to introduce the random take, because we're going to talk about the machine for the entire random take. It's pretty action packed. I was like, it gets there. It was good.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that now. In the fishing topic, we're actually bringing 2 topics to the table. We're going to get an hour out of it, but it's going to be strange because they're kind of not connected in any way, but they're all fishing. So fishing fertilizer and surf fishing, shore fishing. It's not going to be shore fishing, because shore fishing will go on forever, but we'll get to surf fishing, and you'll find out why in the fishing topic. But let's kick it off how we always kick it off. Get that fishing news. Let's get that fishing news out there. So this one, Tim, this is a roundabout way, but you know this one. It is a clickbait headline that says, "Here comes that island again. Better get the Lund."
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, dude. You sent me a reel.
Yeah.
And then you were just like, this fucking island gets moved by regular boats.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I don't believe anything without a secondary source that comes from like reels or something like that. You know, like I didn't know this source. I didn't know the profile that sent that reel, that you sent that reel from.
Right.
So I was like, hold on a second. All this footage is real, but like what's going on?
Yeah.
Turns out that reel was telling the truth in 30 seconds or whatever it was. It was really short.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I went over to good old NBC 15, the WMTV over in Madison, Wisconsin, and I found the news story. There will be a link in the YouTube video if you go over to the YouTube video. Remember, RealAFTV.TV. You find the YouTube channel right there. You can find this video, and then you can click on this link if you want. But yeah, dude, I found the NBC affiliate over there in Wisconsin that reported on this thing.
Nice.
It was a real news story.
It's crazy.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. And I mean,
you want to explain it before we jump in?
Yeah. So what the video is it's just an island that it's essentially a bog, like a massive bog. And what a bog is like, there's like floating, I don't even know exactly what makes a bog, but it's like the shoreline gets water underneath it because of whatever that material is with the weeds and stuff becomes buoyant. So it floats and it'll just break off from the shore.
Yep.
And however this happened to be, this island is essentially that, but all the way around, and it literally floats.
Yep.
And it will move across the lake. And when it gets to a certain point, they just get like 11 boats and they all basically like line up the boats on shore. And then they just drive. They all drive in the same direction and push it back to wherever they need to push it to.
Yeah, dude. You have all of the details. I mean, you have all of that's the base story. I'll fill in the details from NBC 15 here. It's the Chippewa Flowage. It's Chippewa Flowage, Wisconsin. So it must be tiny. I didn't look it up.
Sure.
But it's literally called Chippewa Flowage, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Because this is on the Chippewa River.
Okay.
And they're the flowage.
the flowage.
It's like the flow of the river through there. So they call it Chippewa Flowage as the town. So weird. I don't know.
Right.
It's like you have a town on the Mississippi River and you just fucking call it Mississippi River. I don't know. That's the way I thought about it in my head.
Weird little gift shop that has just all sorts of different signs that say like corny go with the flow puns. They're just like
to hang in your cabin.
Yep. There's one lady that like makes a killing a couple of weekends a year, and she's just like, "Well, we had a good year." Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so yeah, like you said, it's a big bog, which is a floating island, and you were exactly right. It's just the bacteria and the decay and everything else that just happens in the lake. It can get underneath and pop. We don't have to get into what a bog is more.
Right.
This thing has been around for several decades. That is a direct quote from the news report.
I mean, it makes sense. What are you going to do with it? It's not going to go away.
It
starts floating one day and you just go, well, fuck it. It seems to me like, I mean, maybe you're able to like push it to one side of, like wherever the current seems to be going, you push it to that direction. And then every once in a while, it just floats back over again. Maybe it's not an island most of the time. Is that what it is? No, it doesn't seem to be that way. No, because this thing just seems to float in like, there was a resident that they were interviewing and it's like, oh, it flows in like once a year at least. What? Weird.
What the hell? And this thing's basically, it was started because they dammed up the Chippewa River 100 years ago. And so it made the reservoir, and then that, led to the water becoming the lake and everything that you kind of already explained. And next thing you know, buoyancy happens. And there you go.
Right.
And like you said, it's an island. It's basically an island. So they didn't have any stats on how big it was, as far as like there was no square mileage or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the news story video had close-ups of the island. and like different angles and stuff.
Yeah.
There were just birds living on there.
Right.
They were just chilling. They were looking at all these boaters and like, what are you guys doing? I live here.
Right.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
What's going on? The DNR is like, you can't break that thing up. It is a habitat. Like, it's that big.
Oh, sure.
That the DNR is like, no. This is a natural habitat. You have to let it go. Even though, like, once a year, it just tries to float in and mess up this bridge, which is the only connection east and west on the flowage. And so it just starts coming towards the bridge, and the residents are like, well, fire them up, gather around.
Right. I mean, at least there's a way of, like, keeping it in check.
Sure.
But it does seem, I don't know, there's sometimes the DNR does seem to overstep, and it bothers me.
Yeah.
Like where it's stuff like that, or like shorelines will get messed up from the ice shelf or whatever. And then you like, you know, pay somebody to come and like level it out or whatever. And they're just like, you got to have a permit for that. Like, the ice shelf didn't have a fucking permit to fuck it all up. You know, it's just, it's just like some of the stuff is just like a little backwards. It's just like, you know, oh, it's shoreline, you got to leave it. And it's just like, well, but it wasn't like that.
Yeah,
You know?
I get it. Because I think what you're saying is like you're trying, in that case, you're trying to preserve what was there before, even though, yes, nature fucked it up. I'm not.
Yeah.
No. In the case of like a big ice shelf coming up and fucking up the shore, or, you know, the ice flow or whatever, fucking up the shore. There are shitty people out there that are going to try to use that to their advantage to, you know, extend their shoreline 3 or 4 feet, and they'll just keep doing that until until they've like taken up a good chunk of the lake.
Oh, right.
Those are asshole people.
Yeah. Adding stuff and doing shit like that is definitely not cool. But like when you're talking about, I think you said it perfect there with the preservation of stuff. Well, if you're trying to preserve what was there, then why are you not allowed to bring it back to what it was?
Right.
Sometimes, you know, some of that shit is just
a
mess.
Yeah, that is definitely I think that's a good debate topic. Like that's a good topic to just, I like that. Because that's all you're like in a logical person, in like a sensible person's case, you would just try to put it back to where it was last summer. Right.
Yeah.
You just want to reclaim, not reclaim, reshape the shoreline back to where it was the year prior.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the bird's habitat, like if the bird's not going to, the bird will find another spot. It doesn't spend all its time on that spot.
Yeah. It's not like,
and
there in this particular shot, it wasn't nested up or anything like that. They were disturbing the nest of the animal.
I mean, I guess I'm just like on team people, so it bothers me where it's just like, oh, we need to not disturb the ground that this bird lives on. Just be like, but we're allowed to let it, you know, like possibly take out the bridge and fuck up all our livelihoods for a while and, you know, screw everything up because that bird decided to make a house there when he could just make a house on a different piece of land. Like he has any land,
the
he
same
wants
tree
to
just
choose
over
from.
there.
Yeah, it's right over there, dude. Or some ground. You want a waterfront? Plenty of it. Just not on the floating island, dude.
Just not on the floating island. And dude, you said something like 11 boats.
Yeah.
They had 25 boats this summer.
Is that what it was? 25? Damn.
And you want to know?
I know it's decent size because it's 25 boats and they're just on like one little section.
Oh yeah.
You know, you only see like they're not even like on they don't even cover the full side. They're just like in a small section of one side.
Yes. There's like a general who says, okay, you 15 have to go here and you remaining 10 have to go over here. And we all have to go at the same time. You know, there's someone directing this because it's that big. It's a fucking island.
Yeah.
So they have to shelve them up in certain places. And then you know what? They got fucking stuck on a rock this year anyway. So they're pushing and pushing and pushing, and then it gets stuck. So that when you were saying like you push it, and can you just push it to the other side of the lake and stuff like that? It's like, no, this thing's huge.
Right. You just get stuck on a rock, and then you just, I guess it's not a floating island anymore. It does have a point that it makes it down to the ground, and it lives here now with this rock. Nobody liked the rock anyways.
Fuck that rock.
Fuck that rock. Now it just sits here. Yeah. I don't know. It seems crazy. I don't think you're supposed to even the small bogs. I don't think you're supposed to take him out either. You're just supposed to like try to. Which is fucking stupid, because that's on the smaller scale. It's like it could hit the dock that it's coming up to, but there's really no rules too much about what you're doing. So like if you see one going across the lake coming at your shit, same shit. You take your boat and you push it a little bit further out. It's like playing a game of like, a pool or whatever. Yeah.
You're just potato.
Like, if I let it keep going, it's one of those, it's like that game where you try to like land the spaceship, that old school like computer game where you're trying to land the spaceship. You're like, oh shit, it looks like that spaceship's going to land right on my shit. I need to go out there and push it a little bit further so it lands way the fuck over here.
Out of my way.
I don't know whose house it's going to land by, but it's not going to land by mine.
Going to push that thing over to Dan. Dan's been a dick this year anyway.
If I get it just right, it's going to fuck his shit up, dude.
It's not even up here this weekend. Watch this, fucker.
Yeah. It's going to be the shit, dude. I'm going to be able to destroy his whole dock, and he can't even get mad at me. I'm going to make sure the bog stays there. Then when Dan comes up, I'm just going to be like, damn, Dan, what happened? Oh, shit, dude.
That's it. That's all.
That's it.
The story. It's fucking crazy. Go over to the YouTube channel, reallyf.tv. You'll find the link to the YouTube channel, and it'll be in the description of this video. It's pretty wild shit to see with your own eyes, but I think we did a pretty good job here explaining it, because it's a big ass floating island that they put boats on, and they're doing it up there.
Right.
So 17:45. That,
I wonder if you can camp on it.
Was me doing. Okay. I actually thought that too. You know what? Let's take that out. That was me just doing that out loud editorial notes.
Yeah.
Dude, I thought about that. I was like, so you can go camping on a solid island, like if it's not private or whatever, if it's public land.
Yeah.
You can drive out there and beach your boat. Yeah. And you can go camping.
Right.
Like, I wonder if you can camp on this floating sumbitch, because it looked that solid.
Right. For sure.
From like the bird standing on it and shit. And some of the people got out of their boats, if I'm remembering correctly. But either way, you can tell it was solid. I mean, it's walkable. Yeah. That'd be pretty wild to get on that thing and then have your boat just like staked into it and drag behind it. It's like you wake up 120 feet down the shoreline.
Right.
Well, we drifted last night. Shit.
Yeah. And you just like wake up and just be like, all right, I'm going to cast out a line. Looks like we drifted away from the main point, and now we're on the secondary point. A little bit like, what? Let's try it out. We're in a different spot. Let's see what happens, dude.
Let's see what happens. I'm going shore fishing.
I'm shore fishing from the middle of the lake in different locations every time I wake up. This is very odd.
I love it. Oh, that's fucking awesome. Okay, let's jump into housekeeping here. I asked in the last episode to help us out because I think something happened with the algorithm or some shit. I don't know. Man, whatever you guys did out there, though, whatever you did, listeners, whatever you did, whatever sharing, or if you just popped over and quick, whatever, it doesn't matter. You killed it. Thank you. The video last episode, I should say, the video of last episode, back on track, man. We're getting views again. We're going up. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Got to throw it in there. But serious, appreciation. I don't know how or why. So I'm going to credit to my shout out to all the people that are listening already.
Yes, you, the viewer, the listener, you made it happen.
I believe
you
it.
have the power.
You got the power. We're brought to you by Real AF TV Patreon page over there. If you want to go check it out, patreon.com/Real AF TV. Remember, real like fish and real. Remember, if you are sharing this, which we were just talking about, the podcast is every other week on Monday. Then the off week, you get a trimmed down version of just the fishing topic on Wednesday and the random take on Friday. Make sure to share that with your friends. Sometimes people like the shorter versions. I know I said a while ago I was going to try to cut these down to under 2 hours and like maybe try to push it back towards an hour, hour and a half. And then that shit ain't happening. We can't help ourselves.
Not for right now, at least. You never know.
You never know. But right now we're just rolling with it. We're you know, there's too much flow sometimes, and we're just gonna let it go. We're not gonna sit here and just edit ourselves more than we did. If you just listen to the last episode, we did an hour and something. And then I was like, dude, we're going too long. We can't even get into the other details that we did on these other, like, we didn't even dive into 2 or 3 lakes at least.
Right.
It's like, we gotta stop. And we still ended up doing a 2 and some hour podcast. So anyways, that's it. Definitely would like to hear if you were sharing this, if you were the part of helping get that YouTube, get episode 78 back on track with getting the views up. If you were, please leave a comment in the video, but even better, go to realaf.tv/contact, email us. We're there.
Yep.
So that brings us to the fishing topic, which,
fuck out of here. Sorry.
Like I said in what was that?
If any of the audio listeners, I accidentally, like McAfee or McCaffrey, whatever, McCaffrey, the fucking free, shit popped up for like the 4th time, and you were like, it's the fishing topic, and the thing popped up, and I out loud went, the fuck out of here, and I wasn't thinking about it, but I heard it back, and I was just like, oh shit, I should probably
clarify that. You're going to hear the splash and the going to the fishing topic. Yeah,
even in the video thing, you might be confused. Like in the video, you probably at least see me like looking where it looks like I'm doing something, but the audio for sure sounded like I was just telling you to get the fuck out of here.
We ain't doing no fishing topic. Fuck out of here.
Fuck out of here. What are we talking about? I thought you said we were doing short episodes now. We're done. I'm done.
Done. Cut it off. We're out. 20 minutes of fishing news. Bunch of fucking around. We out.
Yep. Bye.
That's a visual gag. Okay. First things first. I put this in the fishing topic because it's housekeeping, but I wanted to kick it off, putting it in the fishing topic. Tim?
Yeah.
Spotted bass are not hybrids.
Yes. I meant to actually bring it up. Like, as we were on the episode, I checked into it.
Mm-hmm.
And
but that was also part of it, because I said, you know what? Nope, we don't have time for this. We're going to go. We got to move on. Like, that was part of it. All ties into the, like, we're already hitting our time limit.
We just got to move. Yeah. But yeah, I know, like, I looked into it, and are they not hybrids at all?
Without getting into a full research, because I know that we could do a full episode on spotted bass alone, they're not hybrids. They are categorized as their own bass, as their own kind of bass. Now, if you look at it, it just looks like a different kind of largemouth with a smaller mouth. So I don't have all that, but I did enough quick research on a DNR website. It's not. I'm just using DNR as a generic term, but it was a DNR website, and it just said, nope, the spotted bass are their own thing. So
yeah,
that's not the topic. That's not the topic. I just wanted to put it in the fishing topic, so that way it got broken out, and people who might jump around caught that part. Look at it though. Look at a spotted bass. You would think it's a fucking hybrid. We'll do a full episode on it one day. So, anyways, Tim, we got 2 topics here, which seem random, and that's okay. Fuck it.
Yeah, because sometimes we don't need to talk about one thing for the whole deal. So whatever.
No, we've done other. Fishing. That actually is a good point. Listen to this one, guys, out there, audience. Listen to this one. Let us know, because the way I see this is this, and is like we did another episode where we just did like 5 quick fishing topics, right? And it was like an hour and 45-minute episode or something like that.
Yeah.
These sort of episodes like this are an experiment, I think. Listen to this. Tell us what you think. Give us your feedback. Do you like these 2 parts? We could take these 2 parts and split them into shorts. There's different ideas. So this is a episode, right? This is a traditional, you're going to get your fishing and your random take from here. But with your feedback, we can take it and twist production, and take production ideas from it, because it's not that we just do this randomly necessarily. It's like, okay, take it, give us your feedback, let us know, because there are underlying ideas, and the more that we actually hear from the audience, the more we can possibly expand or shift or take it, take ideas and morph them into something else.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yep.
So,
and even if not, like you said, there's a lot of different options there.
Yeah.
But also, like, do you just like this?
Yeah,
like how
for
this
sure.
Episode is going to be done. Are you just like, yeah, let's hear a couple of different things. I mean, sometimes you're not really going to get that option. Like if we're doing one of those where it's like, oh, we're going to talk about crankbaits.
Right.
Just be like, you're not getting a half-hour crankbaits. I'm doing the whole, we're going to talk about this for a while, but
right.
Like it just feedback would be much appreciated. Just let us know what you're thinking. Like you just be like, yeah, I was digging that, but
because the fishing topic itself could be broke up into 2, 3, 4 smaller ones, if that's what you guys are into. That's the sort of production kicking around ideas for production that we'd love to hear.
And we're open to criticism. We'd love to hear any way you want. If you want to be like, this episode, how you're doing it here, we really like. Old episodes we really like. It doesn't really matter what you guys do. You're just both very handsome, and I'm here to just stare at your faces on YouTube. I'll
take that comment.
I'll take it too. Tell me what
I'll even log in and like it.
Yeah. What color shirt do you want me to wear? I'll wear whatever color shirt you want. Got a thing for red shirts. That's not really my color, but I'll wear it and I'll do it for you.
Leave a comment. Say you want to see Tim in a red shirt.
Yeah, let us
Next
know.
episode.
I'm not doing no shirt though. A little bit of precursor to the machine.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. That's some Burt shit there. Okay. All right, Tim. So we got 2 topics. They're pretty widely separated from each other, but there is a connection, and actually that we will make. And we got fertilizer, fish fertilizer, and we have shore fishing, but really surf fishing. Isn't that the right term?
Yes, surf fishing, because it's shore fishing in the ocean. So you're fishing from shore, essentially on the beach.
Right.
So you're fishing in that surf.
Yeah.
Because it feels weird to call the beach the shore.
It does for some reason.
Yeah.
So I think we should kick off with fish fertilizer because because surf fishing is going to be cooler.
Sure.
And I'll tell you why I think that the fish fertilizer thing is cool, because I did a lot of research in it. And the reason why I did and thought of this topic even is that I've been eyeing up this pond near me. I heard that it has a lot of bullheads in it, and the answer is it does. Like I can see the cloud of baby bullheads. So I shouldn't. Right. So I don't know if there's any adults in it.
Okay.
But it's sort of a runoff kind of thing. So we've talked about how we want to eat bullheads, right? Like we want to have like a bullhead cookout. Like we want to try it.
Yeah.
This body of water isn't exactly somewhere I trust to eat out of.
The kind, yeah.
You know, because we've talked about it before, how these like I want to catch a predator out of the local pond, right? And how like these are kind of urban lakes and we don't necessarily trust the eaters.
Right.
But I'm not putting the bullhead back either.
When it's like a predator / like bottom feeder, it's like, ooh, dude, I don't. Yeah. Just gives you a gross feeling when you're like, you're eating stuff off the bottom in this water.
Yeah, dude. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to put it back because I feel weird about putting a bullhead back just in general.
Right.
Because they were always treated like trash fish and shit like that when I was a kid. And I never remember putting one back in the water, but I never remember cutting one up either. You know?
I mean, you can go back and listen to that episode when we talked about them.
We had a full bullhead episode.
They were 100% just regarded as trash fish, where like, and they'll sting you. Just like, well, now, not the ones we deal with, at least, but it's like, I was scared to touch them as a kid. Like, what the fuck do you do?
Right. Because we were told that they sting you, and it was like, well, they're actually like little claws, basically. It'll poke you. Right.
It'll poke you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't have to when you hear sting as a kid, you think about a bee and there's venom in you, and like the bullheads in Minnesota are not that.
Yeah. Plus, half the people don't even know what they're talking about. It's just regurgitated bullshit. Don't those things sting you? I don't know. Yeah, everybody. That's what they all told me. I'm not gonna touch it.
Right. So how this came about is, I thought that this would be an opportunity for me to catch bullhead, maybe learn how to catch bullhead, experiment catching bullhead, and experiment cleaning them. Even though I don't want to eat them.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, what the fuck am I going to do with it? I don't want to just murder this fish to murder it.
Right.
You know, if I pull a koi fish out of a pond, I'm just going to murder that fish to murder it. If I pull a big ass carp out, I'm going to murder that thing to just murder it and throw it in the woods. You know, and nature will eat it. Nature will eat it. But I don't want to do that to the bullheads because I want to eat them. So I want to experiment on filleting them.
Yeah.
And then what? They just take that carcass and throw it away? It's like, nah, fertilizer. Mm-hmm. I've heard of this before. And so I kind of dove in.
Yeah.
And it's gross. It'll be gross. But I really think I'm actually going to do it because my wife likes to garden. Yeah. She wants to start a garden with moving and everything this year. She didn't get her garden.
Yeah.
And we like to grow vegetables and herbs and, you know, like have an herb garden and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out fish are fucking awesome at growing vegetables and stuff.
Nice.
So, I think I'm actually going to do it, but we'll see. I think now that we're in the fall, if I do it now and pour it out and stuff, I can freeze it outside, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
And just use it as a fridge so it never has to come into the garage and it never has to come into the house, that I can just leave it outside.
Sure. Yeah.
That's my hope. And that it'll stay good, that it'll thaw out in the spring and be good still.
Right.
That's my hope. I don't know. if I didn't find any of that in the research because nobody's doing that.
Sure.
But you can buy this shit. And this is how I actually like went in, because you can buy fish fertilizer. Like you can go to Home Depot and just get fish fertilizer.
Okay.
And I'm like, no. You do a search for how do I use fish fertilizer or how to make fish fertilizer. And they're like, go to Home Depot, get a tablespoon, get a sprayer. And I'm like, and then they're like, and buy Alaska's fish fertilizer. It is a 5-to-1 ratio. And they like, it's basically a fucking commercial. And I'm like, oh, God damn it.
The paid advertisements are sickening. Happens all the time. I've been finding it. Well, we can talk about it in like the second half of this fishing topic, but I've been finding it like trying to do like shore fishing stuff. And it's just like, come to get the best charter in Destin, Florida. You're just like, I'm not asking about a charter right now. I will ask you about a charter when I want to ask you about a charter. Right now, I'm looking for other information. Give me that information. You know?
Exactly. The through lines in this are going to be good because that's also how I'm going to catch the bullhead. Like it's just a local pond that I've been watching, and I'm going to just go shore fishing and try it. So again, it's like shore fishing. And and the research is more complicated than you think it would be. You think you got that phrase and you throw it in and you're like, oh, fuck, that's not what I want.
Right. Nothing's ever easy.
So a few quick things is ratios. I did want to there was 5-1-1 ratios, and then there was like 3-1-1 ratios and 3-2-1 ratios and shit like this. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And they're like, oh, that's the NPK.
Oh, now we know.
Right.
Solved.
Oh, okay. Easy. Moving on.
Riddle solved.
Yeah. What the fuck? So many sites were just like, and that's the NPK ratio. Yeah, okay. I am a fisherman, not a fucking gardener. What the hell are you talking about? Still, this doesn't help that much, but it's, you break it down. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, NPK. Those are their elemental table letters.
What did you say it was?
Nitrogen,
phosphorus,
and potassium. Yes.
And those are like the elemental?
Yeah, so N.
Because where does K come from?
Yeah, K is what it is on the periodic table.
I see.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I guess those are the three things when it comes to fertilizer. Those are a big deal. And they're in that order. So like a 5-1-1 is 5 nitrogen, 1 potassium, 1. And it matters to what you are growing or trying to grow. If you're home, if you do homebrew like I'm going to, you're not going to know for sure. So don't be that person, like if that shit matters to you that much and you already knew what NPK meant and all that, you're growing on a like scientific level, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about casually helping out my house.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, just trying to help stuff grow. We're not trying to make the biggest and best tomatoes here.
Right. Yeah, I'm not trying to win the fucking pumpkin contest and next year.
Yeah. Just making the biggest things. Also, I would like to say, when you said NPK, I was joking around, but then I started just like the first thing that popped into my head was characters spelled with a C. What do non-player characters have to do with this?
Hell yeah, dude. That's really good.
And I was just trying to like think about like, okay, so it's like non-player what? Non-player kindergartner? Or
kindergartner.
What could this be? What could this be? And then you hit me with nitrogen, phosphorus, and then another P, and I'm like, what? then
your brain just reset. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I didn't see that coming.
I was just like, okay, N, all right, P, P again, K, and then obviously, you just heard the whole working of it and just being like periodical table. Then must be something, whatever.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Oh, okay. Now I get it. Right.
Yeah.
So back to the buying it at Home Depot. I kind of like fish fertilizer is the easy word, but it's fish emulsion. And that's where the research went go. Because I thought it was going to be,
gross, dude.
I know.
That sounds gross because I'm thinking about like the emulsion blenders.
It is.
And as soon as you said
it
that,
is
I just
that,
pictured
dude.
like a fish with the. That's what you got to do. Oh, gross.
So you can. I'm not going to fucking do that. I won't do that because my emulsion blender rocks. I'm not going to do it to any of my food processors. Fuck that. And my meat grinder is not getting dirty mudfish in it. Ew.
Yeah, dude, you definitely have to have just like an immersion blender you got from like Goodwill.
Yeah,
it's just your fish grinding blender.
Yep, and that's all it does, right?
That sounds so
for
gross.
reals, dude. Because that is seriously what you do. Like there are a lot of places. So this isn't from one source. This is from all over, kind of going back to the like what I said in the last episode is like, this isn't Wikipedia. I did a bunch of research and I broke it down to this.
Yeah.
So the emulsion is emulsion. It's fucking liquid fish juice.
Fish. Oh, gross. Liquid fish.
So it's, when you buy it, it's concentrate. When you make it, it's actually concentrate too. So that was the cool thing. The over-the-counter stuff, they have the ratios on it most of the time, and they can blah blah blah. But the do-it-yourself stuff, yeah, it is a concentrate. They actually were a couple sites that were like, pour off the liqueur, and I was like, oh, don't call it a fish liqueur.
Yeah, so what is that? Like, it's just fermented juice or what? Like, what is the definition of liqueur? Is that really what it is?
Yes, and I'll tell you why.
Fermented fish juice.
Yes, dude. It is. So let me tell you how you make an emulsion.
Yeah.
And why it is fermented fucking fish juice, dude. So this is the mixture that you use for fish emulsion that you turn into fish fertilizer. Unsulfured molasses. It has to be unsulfured because the sulfur will destroy things in the molasses, and you want the molasses for nutrients. And I'll get into that in a second.
Okay.
But I have molasses that I use for making barbecue sauce, and it's unsulfured. So it's not hard to find. Like, you just go grab it.
Yeah.
You just have to make sure that it is the unsulfured kind.
Okay.
Fish, of course.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of places that were chopping it up. There were people that were just like, oh, well, take your butchered fish already and just throw them in a pail, whatever. They're already cut, like it's skeletons, bones, whatever.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You can just throw those in too. Nowhere really made a big deal about all of it. But if you break the fish down a little bit, it's going to be better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I was just picturing when you said, like, I thought the next step you were going to say, like, some people are just like, just throw the fish in the bucket and then you just get yourself like a giant, like a baseball bat, and it's like a mortar and pestle.
Well, it's alive too. This is how you take it down.
That wet.
Oh, gross. Make sure your fish is alive before you turn it into paste. Get this baseball bat. 44 ounces is recommended. Aluminum works really well. Oh, God. Disgusting.
Don't get the Louisville Slugger with the cup on the end. That's not going to work. You have to get the...
So gross. So, yeah, okay. Fish, break it down in some way.
Yeah.
So it's not just the outside skin. Obviously, fish doesn't break down in water very well.
Correct. Well, I mean, once it's dead, everything starts breaking down.
Right. But you want to start, jumpstart the process.
Yes, sure. Yep.
Okay, so if you can get filtered water, that's actually what you want. Or I didn't see this, but I assume like water from wherever you are getting your fish from. Probably wouldn't be
Yeah.
a bad idea either. But the reason why you want to use, if you're using like city water, that's what I was using. Or if you have a like purification system that uses chemicals on your well system, you don't want that in
Yeah.
there because it can kill the bacteria and stuff. The same way you want the
You're
unsulfured
right.
molasses,
Yeah,
you
that makes
want to
sense.
get those, bits of chlorine and fluoride and stuff like that.
Right,
Not, I didn't
exactly.
see fluoride. Sorry, that was my bad. But it did say like you don't want chlorine in there.
Yeah. Well, I think there is fluoride in the water though, and fluoride is like whatever, like an antibacterial,
Like kind of an
isn't it?
antibacterial. Yeah.
So I would assume it's something also you don't want. Like what you said makes sense.
Yeah. You just want to make sure that
because
the water isn't
that,
going to kill the bacteria that's going to grow because,
yeah,
again,
and
you
the water
literally are
itself,
fermenting this shit, dude.
yeah, and the water itself has like different chemicals, unless they're just like, stay clear of algae because that could cause problems, like if become toxic almost.
I see what you're saying.
But I don't know for sure. I would assume not for the most part, but I know that I don't know, dude. It's gonna be gross shit anyways. Maybe
It's
it
gonna
doesn't
be
matter.
so gross.
Just wear a mask and just wear a mask
Yep.
anyways, and try not to breathe it in.
For sure, dude. I'm totally grabbing an N95 and putting it on. I'm like, I don't
Right.
I'm getting the oldest clothes I can find. I'm buying a fucking bucket or getting
Yeah.
a bucket from someone. It's gonna be
get
so
you one
nasty.
of them cool masks with the 2 filters out here. That's what you need.
The ones that look like they have the 2 canisters of fucking purified air on them.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Because it's gonna be bad.
It's gonna be gross.
So okay, so we got molasses.
Yeah.
We got fish. We got water.
Yep.
And these are the 2 parts. These are the 2 key parts. So lactobacillus. Lactobacillus. I don't know, man.
That sounds like a real word. Lactobacillus.
Lactobacillus. It's a bacteria that you can just get, and guess what it's good for? Fermentation. So you can get that, and you can throw that in there to really kind of kick stuff up. But this is the way this is the easy way. You got compost. You can find some compost, throw that in there. Boom. That'll jumpstart this thing.
There you go.
Old sawdust. You have a project that you've just been pushing the sawdust in the garage corner?
Dude.
Throw it in there.
Sawdust is a miracle. Throw sawdust in there to make your fish just, and now I'm just picturing like a commercial running where they're just selling sawdust. They're just like, do you need sawdust for your fish fermentation? You mix it up, it's going to make everything better. Did you spill some oil in your garage? Get a little bit of sawdust sprinkled on there, it'll suck it right up. Did you know that sawdust is one of the key ingredients in most of Taco Bell's ground hamburger? It is a filler for meat if you need it. It is a miracle. Come down, Charlie's Sawdust
Hardware.
Emporium. We'll get you.
Yours is better.
But yeah, the sawdust is it works for everything. So when you said it, I'm just like, well, makes sense. Sawdust is good for almost everything. You can do whatever you want with it.
Sawdust is good for almost anything. I love it. And then leaves, which is perfect for right now in the fall up here. Right?
Yeah.
I was just like, leaves. Yeah. Nice. And it all comes down. Every single one of those things is you need that food and bacteria from it. That's what it's from. I mean, the lactobacillus is literally just throwing the bacteria in there for fermentation.
Sure.
But like compost, it's already fermenting, already growing that bacteria. Old sawdust is starting to do the same thing. Leaves, they're doing that. You ever smelled the fall? Shit, after a good rain, fall reeks. Yeah,
it does. It's a very nostalgic.
Unique.
It's like you smell that and you're just like, oh, that's the smell of wet leaves in the fall. It's like you just know that stink.
You just know that smell for sure, dude.
It's weird.
It is, but it is. That's what I put in the notes. I was like, that smell.
Yeah. And when they start breaking down, like it makes heat. You ever
Get warm. You ever
Yeah,
left a
you
pile
ever
too long and then jump
yeah.
into it?
And then the middle of it's like hot. You're like, what the hell's going on here? Yeah. That heat starts doing
Leaf
stuff
jacuzzi.
too. Oh yeah. But then you're just like, oh my gosh, we gotta go take a shower. Why is it hot? There's gotta be tons of bad bacteria, right? And that heat, something's going on in there.
Something's going on in there.
We gotta go get clean, bro.
So that's all you need to do. You just need to get some molasses. You just need to get some fish. You need to get a bacteria source, and you fill it with some water. So there's nutrition in the molasses. Like you need the sugar, and it's the same as like if think about beer brewing, dude.
Yeah,
you need yeast and you need sugar. You need a bacteria, yeast, and you need a food source, sugar. Molasses, dead leaves. You're making fish liqueur.
Gross.
We're going to make a recipe out of this, Tim. It's going to be delicious. Shots of fish liqueur, huh? What do you say?
Yikes. If we could guarantee that I wouldn't die and it's just
you could pasteurize it in some way?
Yeah, I would try. It would be terrible, but I'm not one to shy away from a shot. Like even if it's the worst shot in the world, I'll take it if I know that I'm not going to get sick from it. You know, if it's just booze, but it tastes absolutely terrible and it's like rotten fish. I'll probably throw up, but I'll do it as long as I don't. If you can tell me like it's 100% safe, it's just going to be real gross. I'd be like, all right, let's do this.
All right, let's go. It's the new Ipecac. It's like that shit that you take to make yourself puke.
Syrup,
it hits your medulla oblongata back there in the back of your throat.
Oh, yeah, just
I'm barfing.
That from the fucking Workaholics where he sips it. Dude, I got a stomach of steel. I don't barf. Oh, I'm barfing. No, I'm not. I don't barf. And then actually throws up.
And it starts.
But yeah, dude, I would definitely give it a shot. And what I was gonna say is I would 1,000%, if you told me it was safe, 1,000%, I would rather drink a whole cup of fish liqueur than I would eat one of those live like cave dwelling spiders that they had on Fear Factor.
Oh,
I would rather drink fish juice all day if it's not going to kill me over eating live bugs. I don't like bugs. And those cave dwelling spiders are just massive and you're just, oof.
Yeah.
Unlike spiders in the first place. And I got to eat a live spider.
Eat it while it's alive. Oh, I just got the fucking shivs if you're watching the video. You saw that.
Oof, dude. I got them too a little bit when you start really thinking about it. And then all of a sudden, yikes.
Yeah.
Give me that fish juice.
But yeah, of all that, dude, all of that research that I did is pieced together and not even nobody explained it in that much detail that I found because everyone was just like, just use molasses. Go get this bacteria. And I was just like, yeah, but fucking why? And I just broke it down for you. So now you don't have to go look it up. So if you're thinking about using your scraps, get a 5-gallon bucket, drill some fucking holes in the top, do something to try to keep the critters out of it. I'm worried about flies and raccoons.
Ooh, flies for sure.
Because it's rotting carcass. So anything that eats that, like, I think possums eat that. Like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I'm going to handle that, but flies are for sure. I think if I do it this time of year, it's not going to be so bad because of the fluctuating.
I wonder if you could get one of those big like compost bins where you stir it around.
Hey, I don't know. Compost bins are usually made out of because the black ones are sealed up, aren't they? I don't know if they hold liquid. That's all I'm getting at.
I think they have to because like when they start the shit that you throw in there like decomposes, it starts to like make juice of its own, you know, even like
it does.
Before you do it, it starts coming.
Oh,
So I think it's made to hold shit. I don't know. I've never looked into it, but
me
I
neither.
guess.
I'm just gonna try to find a like old cat litter bucket or some shit,
Oh, there you go.
and
Even
just
like
do it with that for now.
yeah,
Just
you'd
see
have to
how it goes.
put small holes. Make sure that they're not getting in there. 'Cause
Yeah,
even
that's the
fruit.
thing. Is like there was one place that I saw, and this was a really really good tip, and I kind of took it and ran with it a little bit.
Yeah,
They because so what you do is after you've got this whole concoction put together, you let it sit for like 2 weeks, stirring it, occasionally.
yeah.
And then you strain out the juice. So if you put holes in the top and then you put a screen over it,
Yeah.
you could just
Oh,
pour it straight out of there eventually. Like you wouldn't have to worry about the second straining system. You could just put
right.
a screen over it, because what they said is like poke holes, but then put screens on it. It'll keep the flies out. And I was like, yeah,
Sure,
but you
dude.
could
Yeah, you
also just
could.
use that to fucking strain out the water, right? Or the
Yeah, dude.
liquid, the
As soon
liqueur.
as you said that, I was just thinking about it. Like, just poke one big hole that's
One,
like a spigot,
right,
and then just put the screen over that.
right. I think it
Yeah,
would work.
I think that would work too. You gotta, then you'd be able to like keep everything out, because a screen door works to keep everything out of your house.
Right,
So, hell yeah, there
right.
you go.
So I think I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna, we'll see how the bullhead fishing goes in the first place, but I think I want to try it. I think I want to try to help grow bigger tomatoes and shit this
Yeah.
in this next spring. And you don't use the liqueur, you don't use the fish emulsion as is, dude. It's 1 or 2 tablespoons per gallon of water is all you need.
Oh, damn. So you just like throw it in your water.
Yeah, so like if you have a big enough garden, you can get one of those sprayers. Put a gallon
Yeah.
of water in it, and then you just throw like 1 or 2 tablespoons or teaspoons of
Fish juice.
fish juice in it. Yeah. And that's it. And you only use it 2 or 3 times, or like once every 2 or 3 weeks. So
Yeah.
one bucket could go a long fucking way, because you just
For sure.
throw the fish in, throw the sawdust in, throw the molasses in, fill that shit up with water. 3 weeks later, I bet you have a gallon.
That's crazy.
Pretty wild, huh?
It is, for sure. I'm just making my fish juice.
I really want to try this. So we'll see. We'll see if I get around to it here in the freeze, because I have a decent plan. Just
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see if
I
time allows.
like the thought of you not explaining it to people that come over. The wind like blows the right direction. Oh, what was that smell? Fish juice. Don't worry about it. I'm making some over there.
I'm just making some fish juice over there. Just don't worry about it.
No big deal. Caught a bullhead. Decided to make some liqueur out of it. It's whatever.
Normal shit.
Normal household, everyday people shit. You get it. You have one. You do it. You know about it. You do it, right?
Right.
No?
Oh, shit. So Tim, surf fishing. You're headed to Florida. And that's why this came up, right?
Yeah. And I'm super excited about it, dude. I like when I looked into it and learned, like, I don't know if you're guaranteed to catch fish, but at least how they set it up and they do it, super, super simple shit.
Really?
I was so blown away where I just look at it and I'm just like, oh, I have almost everything that I need to do this.
What?
Straight away.
How?
Just because all you need to do is have like some spinning gear. If you're not going for like big sharks and stuff, they're catching smaller fish. There's like these whitings, or there's pompadours, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
And a pompano has to be 11 inches to keep. And they're like little silver fish that, 11 inches is not anything that, too big from the nose to the fork or the tail.
Yeah. Okay.
So they don't have to be that big a fish. And there are bigger fish that you can catch out there, but you use smaller bait, you catch smaller fish essentially, and you can catch decent stuff. And like depending on where you're at, you can go and catch redfish and stuff off the shore. There's
I saw that briefly. I was like,
yeah.
what?
So there's
Redfish offshore?
jetties is what I saw him fishing. A jetty is just a basically a rock point to kind of separate the like rough water.
Oh yeah, you see
from
people getting rocked by waves on those things all the time.
yeah, because they want like a nicer area for people to swim or boats to be able to pull up or whatever.
Oh,
and
sure.
It's kind of like breaking the waves are kind of cresting,
like a little barrier.
or whatever, crashing, whatever I forget the exact term, but yeah, exactly. It's a barrier to kind of protect everything. You can go fish it off the jetty, and there's like fish around the jetty, and people are catching redfish and stuff off those. And
damn, dude.
There's another spot where you can go out. They call it Crab Island, and it's not technically an island. It is a sandbar that goes, like, generally speaking, between like how the tide moves in and out. Generally speaking, it's like between 1 and 4 feet deep, but it can get to like a couple inches.
Whoa.
But it's never technically fully out of the water. So it's like this sandbar that everybody just pulls up on.
Okay.
And they have like floating vendors and like tiki bars and all this shit. It looks really cool.
That's cool.
But you can go there and you can fish that too. It's almost like this unwritten rule that like people can fish in the same areas that everybody is swimming, and it's just kind of like etiquette. Like, just be cool, just be on the outside of everybody. You can catch a fish right here, and everybody will just be like, yeah, whatever, not a big deal.
I actually did that at a freshwater lake up north with some friends.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I can fish here on the sandbar, and they're like, yeah. So I just did the etiquette thing, and I just walked off to the side where nobody was, and it's like there were people fucking playing volleyball behind me, and I was like, just tossing a line out into the open. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, people are pretty cool with it, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I'm excited to do all this surf fishing. But yeah, all this came up because I'm doing the research, because we got a road trip to Florida, which is in under 3 weeks now. I think it's actually technically 2 weeks away now. Because
well, and as the podcast launches, like, fuck, you could be on the road trip, because we're recording these early because of the road trip. I mean, there's just behind the scenes shit right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this
but
one.
So yeah, this month you're on a road trip to Florida.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this one might be coming out the week of the road trip then?
It could be, yeah.
I think so.
I did the math of when it comes out, but I'm not going to say it and put it on here or whatever, just because I don't have it written down here in front of me. It's over on my desk somewhere.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So I got nothing to say, and I can give an update if I do catch some stuff. But, like inside baseball, like you were saying, don't expect it on the next one, because the next one's going to be recorded before I'm gone too. So
right.
So if you're looking for an update, 2 episodes from now, I think we'll maybe touch on that or whatever. If I catch some fish, I'm definitely coming in. That would be the fishing news for sure. I'll be like,
oh yeah, yeah.
I will
hopefully some shit on Instagram and X probably too, because you send me the photo. I'll fucking put it up on
yep.
X
so
Facebook.
So I started looking into this a little bit, and if you and anybody else is wondering out there, like, what is it? What do you got to do? So spinning rod seems to be what you're using on most of this. And even the bigger rods are still spinning rods. And I'm thinking it has something to do. I didn't actually Google this, but I'm thinking it has something to do with all the gears being enclosed and the salt water being able to get into like a bait caster, where the line on a spinning reel is like away from the gears, where the line is actually like, wrapping around.
Right.
It's like right there. And the salt water, I think, is able to get inside the bait caster. So I think the spinning rod, I think that's a big part of it, is how it's sealed. So yeah, that's my assumption. But dude, you can go down. Cut bait is what you use. You don't have to have live bait like you have here. So it's a little bit different.
What's cut bait mean then? Like
cut. So cut bait is literally like you just cut up whatever you got.
Yeah.
You can go to the supermarket, dude, and just, or grocery store, whatever you want to call it, you can just be like, go buy a plate of shrimp.
What?
A raw shrimp, not cooked shrimp.
Right.
But get you some raw shrimp and then just go put it on a hook and cast
No
it out.
way, dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. You can just go fish with raw shrimp
Ocean
from the grocery
fishing
store.
is so crazy.
Isn't it? You can just go there and then you can get like little fish bites and stuff. And there's some other bait that we don't have here. And there's like weights. So from what I was seeing, it looks a lot like they're using rigs that are kind of like what you would use for catfish in high current situations where it's like a real thick sinker.
Mm-hmm.
But then it looks like there's almost some sort of a float on. There's a couple different rigs, and I haven't dug too deep into those yet.
Yeah.
But right, exactly. I got a couple of weeks here. I got to figure it out soon.
This is the high level shit right now. That's why it's not a full fucking episode.
Right. So what it looks like is there's like a float almost, and it just kind of like floats the bait up off the ground, so the fish can just come and like eat it or whatever. And you just put a little piece of whatever. Some of these people are out there fishing like with a little chunk of salmon or whatever, and so apparently it doesn't even have to be a fish that makes sense. You know,
yeah, because that's like, why the fuck would like redfish try to eat salmon or something? I'm not saying that's like what's catching the redfish,
right.
But
yeah, I think just fish seems to be the ticket.
If it looks and smells like a fish, the fish are going to eat it.
Right. Yep. It's basically what it seems like. And the other thing, like with when you say cutfish, so I have looked into all the different regulations. There are plenty of different fish. There's a lot of different stuff that you can pull up pretty easily online. I've downloaded the PDF files of all their different regulations. I've been starting to read all this stuff. And you're allowed to just use some of like the fish that you catch. You can just chop them fuckers up and throw them back out as bait.
God, that's so awesome.
It's like the Wild West out there. You can do whatever you want. And speaking of the Wild West, guess how many lines you can have per person?
2.
Doesn't matter. As many as you want. There is no limit to there's no regulation. Now as we always said,
I'm being realistic. No. Who cares?
All of them. You could have them all. No, so it does say that you have to like tend to your lines. So one can argue that if you have too many out, you're not being responsible. You can't physically tend to them.
Yep.
And if the bite gets hot, you know, you can't be reeling in like 20 lines at a time, obviously. So that becomes irresponsible when you're fighting one fish and you have like 6 other on the line. Like it becomes nuts. You're just wasting all this stuff. So there's like etiquette too. You can't just go and claim the whole shoreline, basically. But there is like, you can cast out as many lines as you want. If you have like 6 people with you and you all are there, and you could essentially just be like, we're taking the whole fucking beach. But one of the things I was thinking too that I've like learned from, you know, ice fishing and stuff where everybody's really close and you get one fish. Obviously they're not quite as close. I saw one guy saying that he likes to put his rods like 25 feet apart. But if you have a fish that runs one way, all of a sudden you're tangling up your line as the other one.
Yeah.
And the current of the waves too can like make the line come back and go around. And I guess you can actually get tangled around your own line. Like it'll just kind of like push it back and tangle it up because you had it out 100 feet and then the water, you know, pushes it back in, then it tangles around your own line. So you're constantly kind of like checking your line and making sure everything's good and stuff. So there's some stuff to it. And I guess regulations, each beach can hold like different rules. So they might be like, you can't have this many lines on this beach.
Oh,
so again,
it's kind of like the lakes around here.
Exactly.
You know?
Yep. Yeah, everything, because there are regions and stuff. They have it like color coded. There's limits on different areas where it's like if you're in the yellow region, you know, I saw one of the things for spotted trout already. like the panhandle area that we're going to be in is like you can keep 3 spotted the sea trouts.
Yep.
And then if you go a little bit over, it turns red, and you can keep 5 there, and then it's stuff like that. So
gnarly.
And it's all it's weird to me.
It is,
because it's the same body of water, but it's just like if you go on this stretch of land, we don't seem to have that good numbers right here, so you don't get as many.
Yeah, which because of the size of the body of water, it makes sense. But it's just so strange to people who are from Minnesota to go like, well, how in the fuck am I supposed to keep track of that? And it's like, well, walk this beach, you know where you are, probably kind of situation.
And you would assume that, like, these fish are going to be living out their lives the whole time there. They probably don't migrate up this way. There's no point for them.
Right.
Yep. So yeah, but yeah, I was looking into all that. We can basically just use the rods we already have. I got 2 older rods that I don't really care for that much, but they're 2-piece rods, so those are the ones I'll be using because I can take those apart and take them in the rental car, because we're driving. It's a road trip. We're taking a rental car across the country, so it's not we're not flying or nothing. I can just take those and throw them in the trunk.
Right. Yeah. It's not like you can just put them in a fucking big hard case and put them on the plane for $50 or something like that. Like,
right. So you can use lures. You can throw out the cut fish. You can actually use lures too, though. It looks like I saw a guy that was throwing out topwater. You can cast out topwater. They'll hit that sometimes. You can throw out spoons.
So do you work it though then? Or do you just let the surf do it?
Nah, you work it like normal. You just cast it out there and you pop it and stuff. And yeah, there's different stuff because it's just big waves. I suppose in between the waves, every once in a while, come hit it. The guy that I watched didn't catch anything on it.
Mm-hmm.
But he actually didn't catch anything. It was a shitty video. He's like, let's see if I can catch fish. Let's see if I can catch fish. And then he's like, well, but I didn't catch anything. And then it's just like, I don't know why you're publishing this one, I guess. But, it's reality. That's what happens sometimes when you go fishing, for sure, I guess. But
he should have just made it interesting. I watch hunting videos all the time where they don't get anything and it's fun.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because they make a good story out of the adventure that it is.
Exactly.
You can't just post your GoPro chest camera and go, let's see if I catch something. Nope. Yeah. Guess I didn't.
It was literally that. It was just like, let's try this lure. Didn't work. Let's try this lure. Didn't work. And that's all it was. And it just like, that one sucked. But there was another guy that I watched that gave good tips, talked about everything, was in the area that we were fishing. And he was just kind of talking about how everything's working. And I was just like, this dude's very helpful. I would give him a shout out if I could remember his name, like his channel. It's some family. Wheeler Family Adventures or some shit like that. But I can't remember. But it seemed like a good dude just out there trying to be like, here's what you can do, here's what you can throw and stuff. And he cast that out a couple of live bait rigs, and I think he was casting a lure just to see. And it sounded like sometimes the lure is like, oh, we're just going to try to catch some bait quick. So the bait will actually bite your lure. Right. And then you can just be like, oh, we're, going to do that. And the whiting that are, I guess, really good table fare, they look like they're small. They're kind of like the same shape as like a redfish, but they're way smaller.
Really?
But you got a chance at catching sharks and everything there, dude. Oh, he was the guy that I watched even said that I had a black tip shark on. It was a small one, but it bit me off when it got close because I didn't have a leader on. So that's what that guy said that you watched, like he could see. In the spot that I'm going to fish, he saw that it was a black tip shark that he had on his line.
Yep.
That he had cast it out, but that was on his bigger setup. So I don't know if that's something that you can get a hold of. I was honestly thinking, just be like, I should maybe go see like garage sailing. If I could find a big setup for like a catfish, somebody just doesn't use it anymore. Just like a big spinning reel, like catfish setup.
Go garage sailing for it.
Whatever, dude. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if the drag would set well, but put on a leader and then just cast out a big chunk of something and then just see. We'll see.
Right.
That will see what's.
That's a really good idea though, because you live on a river basically. I mean, you don't, but that's what you say. Like, you live in Minneapolis, you live on the river.
Yeah. Here's my other idea. So a little bit of a throwback to not the last iCast, but the year before's iCast.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about that power bait crab.
Yeah.
That like walks sideways.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I could Carolina rig that, where it's, you know, like a weight and stuff, and then you just all you do is cast it out and you just reel it. It's got that one thing that goes. That's what crabs do. They walk.
Right.
I'm thinking I could just cast that thing out and just reel it back.
You don't have any of those though, right? Like,
I don't have any of those, but here's the beauty of it, because I was looking into it. Bass Pro Shops in Destin, like right where I'm going. It's on the fucking beach, dude. It's right there. I was just like, I don't have any of this stuff. Do I got to order it? I look into it. There's a Bass Pro Shops right where we're going.
Yeah,
everything that I need is going to be there. And I can talk to those guys. I can go into there and just be like, I'm not from around here. Here's my ideas. Will that work? And I'm hoping they're just like, for being a Minnesota guy, you've got this down. Everything you said is money. Take it and run. Just like, dude,
I hope they do. I hope they do. I want to hear.
I'm sure they will have everything.
Because you're going, right? I mean, you're going to this Bass Pro Shop. Like,
oh, dude, for sure. I'm going to probably try to get a shirt. You know, I bet they have. Like,
that has the location on it, right?
Yeah, the Bass, because I saw they have like different. There's a Bass Pro Shops in Tennessee that has like a Tennessee shirt that's cooler than the ones we got here. It looks, nice. So there's some shirts, and then we'll just have to see if it fits right. There, for whatever reason, Bass Pro Shops, like all these other places, for whatever fucking reason, their sizes are not consistent. You're the same size shirt in one shirt can be different in a different shirt, and you're like, why? Why
buy from different manufacturers for sure?
Yeah, it sucks. Like, they're all under your.
But they're
name.
all black T-shirts with just different fucking Bass logos on it. Bass Pro Shop logos on it.
All your shirt. You are the one that makes. But yeah, it definitely does drive me nuts. Where it's like you just can't get. There's no consistency to the shit. So sometimes it does drive me nuts because, look at me. I'm a big dude. I'm on the upper end of the spectrum, and there are some shirts where like the shirt will fit me perfect, and then their biggest shirt is like our biggest shirt is actually 2 sizes smaller than what you're used to in that size, and then you just go, well, I'm out then. I'm out. You don't have a shirt big enough for me.
It just doesn't. That's it.
Yeah, in this particular style. Meanwhile, I have plenty of Bass Pro Shop shirts. I say plenty. I have one. I don't know why I said plenty.
You just have a lot of fishing shirts in general. So
I have a lot of
So let me ask this question before. I don't know how much more you got, but we got time. You're talking about getting bait, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Like going there, and you're just right now. You're like, well, I'm probably gonna try to get one of those crabs and rig it up, because where the fuck else am I gonna do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what about, like, you said you have all these setups, so like you have a spinning rod and a rod. Like, everything I've seen, these have to be gigantic things so you can get them out far enough, and then you have to have this huge fucking reel on it and all this stuff. You said stuff about the saltwater. Are you gonna bring like a burner set? Like, what's your plan there with the gear? I mean, you already sort of said it, but like, are you worried about getting salt water in your spinning and it fucking it up? Do you think that it's actually big enough to get it out into the surf past?
I do. So it's a 2-part thing. Like, when I'm throwing out the cut fish, or like the cut bait or whatever, those sinkers look to be like almost an ounce.
Jesus Christ.
And I can launch an ounce weight 100 yards pretty easy, I think.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
With the setup you got?
It sounds like they're yeah, I think so. We'll have to see.
I believe you.
I would assume if I put a thick enough line, one of the rods I have is a older ugly stick. That's a 7-foot rod. And I think with an ounce weight and a 7-foot rod,
when you're
think
7
about
foot
like how long
wingspan, you'll be able to fucking whip that thing.
When
out
you think
there.
about how long 100-foot dock is, like
Yeah.
I can cast to the end of a dock without trying.
Yeah, you said 100 yards.
I know, but I'm saying like if you times that by
without
3.
trying. Yeah. No, I got you. 100-foot dock, you're just like flick of the wrist shit.
Yeah. So I think I can, and I don't think it needs to be that necessarily far. I think they come up pretty. The pompanos that they're saying are like good eating.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in St. Thomas, I swam into like plenty of schools of them.
Oh,
and I wasn't that far out.
Sure. Okay.
And I was well within the casting distance.
Sure.
Of where this is,
like of your casting distance for sure. Like, right.
Yeah.
Thinking back on it, you look back at the shore and you go, I could fucking cast out here, no problem.
Yeah. Right now with my bait casters and stuff, with a decent sized lure, I don't know. I guess I've never really measured it, but I'm pretty positive that I'm ripping it around 100 yards already.
Damn, yo.
So if you put on,
we're gonna try that one day. See if you can kick a field goal.
We should, yeah.
Put that one out there now.
50.
Someone's gonna take it.
From 50, I don't know, man. Maybe when I think about being at the 50-yard line trying to kick, because a field goal at the 50-yard line, I think there's another 10 yards there, isn't it?
There is, yeah. Because the beginning of the end zone, the end of the end zone is 10 yards, yeah. So yeah, we do the math.
So maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm at like 200 feet. Maybe I'm at like 200 feet is a good cast. But even still, whatever.
You should just go to a football field and try it. There's plenty of empty football fields around.
I've seen. Right. I've seen these guys casting out in the videos, and they're not like launching it out there with other stuff, you know. I've seen those too where they're really getting it out there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, like the potato guns and shit. We've talked about them.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you were gonna do that shit.
Yeah.
Too.
Or there was that one that I sent you where there was that guy that fucking flew the drone out and dropped the bait right over the fish,
like right on top of the fish. That was so sick.
Just used the drone and then saw the fish and then dropped the bait like right on top of it. Yeah.
To go back to the Wild West thing, I was like, that's ocean. I think my comment back to you was like, ocean fishing is fucking no rules, dude.
I have a little drone that I don't care about. Maybe it'd just be like a one-time thing.
The drone just fucking takes a dive with the bait.
Just be gone. Go as far as you can, little drone. I just fly it out until it stops.
Free.
Be free. I just drive up to the woods. I'll open the door and be like, be free. You're free now. Dude, that's I don't know if you remember that. That is a not PC scene from Wolf of Wall Street, and it is my favorite scene.
Oh, fuck no, dude! I haven't watched Wolf of Wall Street yet. I bought the DVD like 5 years ago and never watched it because it wasn't on Netflix yet.
Oh shit!
So dude, I bought the DVD at like a fucking book sale.
I do not watch movies a second time very often because it has to be like stellar for me to watch it again. And I've seen Wolf of Wall Street like 4 times.
Oh fuck, dude. Okay.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite movies ever. It's so good.
Oh my God. I got to get around to it so much.
Yeah. Fuck. It's knowing that it's a real story too is like,
right. They
took a couple of liberties, but it's pretty on point. It's gnarly. Shit. But yeah, anyways, back to the fishing. Yeah. I don't know. I might be over exaggerating my casting abilities. But I think I can cast it pretty far, and I know I can cast as far as these other guys that I'm watching on the video. Like they don't look to be putting in much effort, just kind of like a woof, and you know, not
I just assumed that the rods were like 15 fucking feet long. It's hard to tell in the video sometimes because they're white rods and they're like on fucking white sand casting into white caps. It's like, I can't tell the scale of this damn thing.
I have seen some of those where they're like surf rods where they are like 12 feet long, but it doesn't look like it's necessary. It looks like you can just use whatever you got.
Okay.
Especially when they're casting out their, you know, your regular baits and stuff, you know, those ones for sure. You're not using a 12 foot try to fish a popper on the surface.
Right.
So
right. Talk about like damn near impossible.
Exactly. But yeah, like if I get down there and they're just like, here's a, maybe they'll have some sort of a sale. They're just trying to get some cheap shit out the door. Here's a surf rod, go and try. And it looks like the rod holders, maybe I'm wrong too. I got to look into this too. Looks like it's just PVC pipe. It looks like you just go down there
just
and
jam
just
it into the beach.
Just jab PVC pipe into the beach, and then you just slide your rod into the PVC pipe.
Dude, we do that on the fucking fishing piers up here. Like some just drill holes into the wood, but then others just fucking stick PVC on there.
It looks like you just bring your own PVC pipe with. So that's what I'm going to look into. If that's what it is, it'll just be like, all right, well, I got 2 rods. I'm going to go get 2 pieces of PVC pipe. And now I got my rod holders. And like, we're going to spend time at the beach if we're just going to be like, today's a sandcastle day and swimming and stuff. And just be like, all right, you guys chill there. I'm going to go set these rods up. And if one bends over, don't be shocked if I take off running down the beach.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's fucking sweet. Now, I saw this last time we were in Florida, and I didn't really realize it. I don't even think I've told you before, but we went to this beach. It was a pretty popular beach, and it was totally the situation of, oh, just etiquette. These people are fishing over here, so don't go swimming, and they're not going to come over this way. And damn it, I can't remember anything, how big the fishing rods were. Yeah. I do remember seeing one guy walk out to cast. Like he went out up to his waist. Yeah. Definitely was like in swim shorts. He may not have been quite up to his waist. And he threw from there because anybody who's never been to an ocean beach. Dude, he walked out like 500 feet and it was up to up to just above his knees, and he threw. And then he just walked back.
Think about that, dude. That's a good tip. Just walk out a little bit, take the cast, and then walk back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a good idea. I can't cast 300 feet. All right, we'll walk 100 feet and then cast.
Yeah. Because you can, because it's shallow. Like that, at least where we were, it was that, it was pretty shallow. The tide was out because the tide ended up coming in while we were there, and we had to move all our shit. We're like, is the water getting closer? And I was like, oh, fuck, the tide's coming in. We were like, oh, we should probably go have lunch.
Yeah, dude, that makes so much more sense too. I'm definitely doing that.
Yeah.
One rod, I'm going to walk like out in the water, cast it, and the other rod I'm going to cast from shore. So then there's like the different depths.
Oh, like dude, I got that's one a great idea.
Further out, and one a little bit closer in. Instead of just being like, oh, we're going to cover the shore. Well, they're probably swimming with the shoreline anyways.
Yeah, back and forth.
Try to get the different depths, one out a little bit further, one in a little bit closer. Yeah. And I honestly was thinking, like, if I could figure out something with a bigger rod, I'll do 3 of them, and we'll put a big chunk on there. Because how dope would it be to catch a shark?
Sweet.
Catch a shark on the beach, not like going out with a charter, just being like, I went to Florida, brought some stuff with me, and caught a freaking shark, dude.
Be so sick, dude.
I think it would be too. Sick. I'm scared of them because they're not like.
Right.
If you're not from around here, if you found us talking surf fishing because you think we know what we're talking about, sorry. Nope. But fish here don't do that, but they do down there. Like if you catch a northern, you don't have to worry about a pike spinning around and trying to bite your hand. A bass doesn't do it. None of the fish we have, like turtles will do it, I suppose. But other than that, I can't think of anything that'll actually try to bite your hand if you catch it.
Right. But even then, a turtle, most of the time, it's because you like snag the son of a bitch. And it's going to try to bite you because you're dragging it up by its left foot.
Yeah. And it's dumb. It doesn't understand. It's pissed off, but it has like it has that mentality that you're trying to hurt it and it will fuck you up.
Right.
And the shark like has that mental capacity like when you get it in, you try to grab its tail or whatever to hold it and go to like, unhook the bait. And sometimes they like reel around and actually like bite your hand. That does not happen here. You do not have to worry.
Nope.
You can put your foot, if a muskie's laying on the floor, you can put your foot right in front of it. You can put your hand right in front of it. You might catch a tooth if it flops, but it's never going to open its mouth and actually try to eat you.
Right. It
will not
didn't
happen.
use its mouth as a defense mechanism in any way.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, I don't know. I think they're just too dumb.
Yeah,
honestly,
I think so too.
I don't
I
think
agree
it
with
has.
you that sharks just have a little something more in them. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think it has the reasoning ability to just be like, get away from me. It's,
Yep.
It'll try to flop, but that's it. It's just like it knows how to swim.
Right.
And biting is for eating.
Right.
And the shark has this defense mechanism where it's just like, I will bite you.
Yep.
The same
That
with
hurts.
like a
I'm
stingray
gonna
and
bite
stuff.
you.
There are things in that water that will try to like defend itself. A stingray, you grab it weird,
right?
You get Steve Irwin. But
that's a great transition.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use it, but there's a Steve Irwin joke in the machine, and it was great.
Yeah, there is.
Before we jump over to that, I wanted to ask one thing, because they're talking about sharks and stuff like that. It's like, one,
yeah,
you just cut it, right? Like if you catch one, you're just going to cut it because you can, and it'll rust out. You can't do that.
You can. I'm not gonna.
Oh, okay.
I'll get the players. I'm not that scared. Okay. If it's real big, it might be different, but I'll put my hand like behind the head a little bit, where it can't reel. Kind of where you put your hand for like a snake.
Yep.
I'm not too nervous about a little one. It doesn't have the reach. I'm pretty quick too, so.
Right. You can read into those two, like especially when you already have your hand on it, you can feel the energy. Like you can feel the move before it moves.
I was gonna say fast forward 2 weeks where I'm like holding up my hand, I'm missing a finger.
You got poopies. You're just like,
oh yeah, I got poopies. Yeah, dude, I saw a video not too long ago where a guy was like dealing with the shark, and he had like his hand kind of between like the shark and the line, and the shark grabs his fingers and then does like the death roll.
Oh fuck.
And just like yells, he's like, lost my pinky, and walks away. And then the people are like, what? Are you serious? Like, yeah. And the shark like flops back in the water. Like, for sure, that shark now has a taste for blood. And it's gonna
go Jaws people for sure.
It is for sure. No, but for real, that guy lost his pinky.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you got to be careful for sure. But on the shore, I'm not too nervous. Hold it down, grab a pliers. I'll probably try to bring like a longer like needle nose that's not necessarily like a forceps style needle nose, but it's not made for getting out a fish hook. This is just I'm glad I brought this pliers in case I
got some real teeth on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other part is, can you and would you catch a shark and eat it?
You can. There are like 4, when I was looking, don't quote me on this because I can't remember that well. There are like 4 species that you have to have them 54 inches or bigger to keep one.
Okay.
And then there's like 10 different smaller species.
Okay.
That you can keep with no minimum size limit. So
interesting.
If I had like a local nearby that was able to be like, that one you can keep, then I'd probably be like, sure. But otherwise, I'm going to be looking at my phone and just being like, is that shark? Can I keep that? Because
is this like 24-inch shark okay for me to keep, or is this one of those that has to be 54 inches before I like way fucking off here?
Yeah. So I probably would, or I know that I could if I knew what I was doing.
Right.
And I probably would, but I don't know. That might be something where I end up just like, if I do catch it, trying to figure out how to fillet it or whatever, and then just like packing it on ice and figuring out how to get it back. Not necessarily being like cooking it down there.
I gotcha.
But 1,000% some of the other fish I'm planning on keeping.
Yeah.
And
for sure. Oh, I knew that.
There's spiny lobsters down there too. If I figure out where the lobsters are, I'll go grab some of those too, because they don't have claws.
Nope.
The spiny lobsters don't have claws. Whatever. Go get them.
I had no idea.
You can get crabs too, but the crabs you have to, if you want to use traps, you have to have the traps like registered.
Yep.
But I didn't see anything about me just going down and grabbing one. So if I'm like, if I see one, I might just go try to snatch one up.
Yeah, I didn't know about the spiny lobsters until Tony was putting so many on Instagram.
Oh yeah, he catches them. He's down in the Keys. I would have totally hit him up too. I want, like, if Tony ends up seeing this or word gets back to him, I haven't chatted with him, but yeah, we kind of made a decision. It's not just my family going down there. If it was just my family, we'd definitely be going down to the Keys to see Tony and hitting him up and trying to figure things out. But we're going to the Panhandle, which is the opposite side of where he's at. And I don't know how many hours. I mean, you're talking the exact, like
literally the other end of Florida. Like you're as far north.
It's almost
west as you can get.
Yeah. The Panhandle is just that little strip where it's almost not Florida. It's like, I think you got to go.
That's what people say.
According to the map, it's like 20 minutes and we're in Louisiana.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's what people say. The Panhandle is not Florida. That's part of the South.
Oh, really? They say that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
I haven't heard any. I did not know. We're technically staying in Santa Rosa, which is right there with Destin. But Destin looks like a poppin' city because it has a Bass Pro Shop.
Because it has a fucking Bass Pro Shop in it.
and it like literally does. I'm so pumped on this because it does look like certain spots that they're able to bring you world class, like redfish fishery.
Yes, fuck yes, dude.
Yeah,
I'm telling you again.
So that's the
you
other
catch
thing
a shark and you want to chop it up and put it on ice. You fucking catch too many redfish and you got to be like, let's get them back. Yeah. I'm helping you fund or completely funding. I mean, if it's going to be like $100 for a fucking cooler of fish to get them FedExed up. Well, talk to me. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I'm 100% willing to fund, if not completely, put a lot of money towards getting you some fish up here because, I mean, I'm going to expect a little fish in return. But like,
for sure, dude.
I'm saying it again. If you do it, do it.
Yeah,
and sharks, don't flay them. Steaks.
Can I? Okay, hold on. Well, you're you steak them. You just chop them.
You steak them. Yep.
Yeah. See, maybe I'll have to like.
Because remember, there's no bones in them, dude. It's all cartilage, and so you steak them up.
Oh.
Now I don't know if the skin peels off after that or whatever, but to just get it butchered down, you just steak it out. I don't know. Like, I'm saying that with an 80% confidence, but I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, dude. Maybe I would just have to like go and talk to a local and just be like, are you interested in shark meat? And they'd be like, yes. And I'd just be like, can you help me clean this thing? And then like you can have half of it or whatever.
Yeah. Like take the best cut or whatever.
Does that sound like a deal? I have no idea what I'm doing.
Right.
And if they're just like, no, I'll just be like, well, then I'll put the shark back.
Right.
How about that? Shark goes back. Do you want some of this fucking shark or what?
Or what? You want to help me out?
Do you want to get a little nibble of the shark, or do you want to see it go free? That was insane sounding what I ever said, but check this out.
Y'all want some hot cheese and eggs?
Y'all want some hot cheese and eggs? Dude, I called that. That's another. I know you're talking about like, possibly like a kind of a correction podcast on things that was one thing where I called him Eggs Tyrone, and that's some guy's Instagram page that has his picture.
Oh,
so I thought that was him. Lavelle Crawford is that guy's name.
Oh, nice.
Sorry, Lavelle, you the man.
Yeah, for real.
Y'all want some hot cheese and eggs? Want to get something in your tummy?
Oh, it's one of my favorite parts of all the workaholic seasons.
That guy's the shit. Yeah,
he's so funny.
So, dude, the other day I'm sitting on the couch and I was looking at the charters and I started punching the couch and Shannon's like, what? And I'm like, you know where we're going. And I'm just like, this line here, I said, Shannon, this is what got, and it says, be prepared to take home a cooler full of good eats. And I'm just like, the line of you just like, I know you have to be confident,
right,
to be a charter, but to just be like, get ready to bring home a cooler. Not, we should have a good day and we're going to catch some fish. I'm going to fill your cooler with delicious fish.
Right.
And I just was like,
yeah, dude. Fuck yes.
So excited. And I like, it makes it so hard because I'm looking into all this shit for the trip, and it's making it tough because every little bit that I learn makes me just want to go there more.
Yeah, dude.
And now we've like scheduled it out for like a 3-day trip, driving down there, and there's stuff we're doing. And I'm just thinking every time I read the new thing, I'm just like, we should have flied, huh? Like, we should have spent all the time down there.
We should have spent all the time down there fishing. I mean, it's like
the time on the way down there is going to be fun too, because we got some dope.
Yeah, because you made it into a road trip.
I found a cool ass cave in Illinois that has like in the cave pontoon boat rides because there's water in it.
Sick,
and shit.
Dude.
Yeah. So there's some cool shit we saw on the way. But when I see all that stuff and I'm like kind of calculating how many days we got in Florida, I'm like, damn, dude, I wish I had more nights to fish. I was not thinking about, I wish I would have known it was easier for me to do it earlier, but also like, how hard is it to bring a fishing rod on the plane, you know?
Yeah.
How much extra money am I dealing with? So it's okay. It's all right.
Like $1,500.
Lesson learned. If it's awesome, then we do it again. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, dude. Well, we better fucking jump over to The Machine, the random take. We're going to talk about The Machine, the movie, because Burt Kreischer, we're fans. We're fans. Well, you know what? Fucking nothing else. This is it. Cutting it off right here. We're jumping into the random take. Go. That's really good, dude. Here we are, patreon.com/realaftv. That's right, patreon.com/realaftv. Real like fish and reel. We are on Patreon, and we are coming to tell you, and by we, I mean me and Tim, Real AFTV podcast here, coming to you to say we have a Patreon as low as $1 a month, but hey, you could go up to 100 if you really wanted to get crazy with it. It's there. Go over to our website, realaf.tv. You can find the Patreon link right there, or go to Patreon and look us up, Real AFTV, Real Like Fish and Reel. And we have things like, for $50 a month, we will customize, what kind of tackle is it, Tim? We have some in the warehouse right now that we haven't actually ran out.
A lure. Yes.
A lure. Thank you.
Is a crankbait.
Crankbait.
Yes. We will customize a crankbait for you.
At the $50 tier. Also, Patreon, if you're new to the whole Patreon thing, if you're on a podcast, you're probably not that new to it. But Patreon is something that you can jump in and out of. Like, if you do $50 this month, bam, you get the custom lure, but you don't want to do that for the whole year. You jump down to the $5 a month tier, where you're going to get early access content. You can help vote on the random take, one of the random takes for the month. And, we'll keep up with you on Patreon as well. Like just a direct Patreon contact. There's communication you do only through Patreon. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you're new, there's just a little intro to it.
Yeah. And to clarify, that custom painted lure is a fully custom painted lure, like the pattern and everything. That won't be just something that we have a lure that we just like write Real AFTV out.
Yes. Thank you, Tim. Thank you for clearing that up, because yes, it's a slug, for lack of a better word, right now, and it will be turned into something.
Right.
I'm not good at the whole fishing lingo, so maybe Tim, you could evaluate on that a little, or like elaborate on.
Yeah,
that.
I mean, it's right now it has no color, and I will give it color.
There we go.
It will look like a bait fish imitation of some sort. It might not be exactly colored. It might not be realistic. Some of that stuff out there.
Yeah.
That the different companies work with makes different stuff, but it will be a custom painted lure, and it won't look like dog shit. Because not to be too full of myself, but I have some talent.
You have some artistic talent. Yes. Yeah, very true. If you know friends and family and stuff like that got a few bucks to kick our way, let them know. RealAF.tv. Scroll down a little bit. There's the Patreon link. It'll shoot you right over. Sign up for a little bit.
Yeah.
How's it going, friends and family? Welcome back to the Real AF TV podcast show about fishing random takes from Atlanta 10,000 lakes. We are in the random take where we're going to focus on one movie. Typically something we don't really do. Zelda may be the exception. I think we did 2 full episodes of Tears of the Kingdom, which we're going to have to come back to again soon, but
for sure.
Yeah. We're going to talk about The Machine. Now, following our last random take, funny enough, just happened though. It just happened this way because it dropped on Netflix. We knew it was coming because Burt Kreischer. So anybody who doesn't know Tim, you just want to give them the rundown of the movie, and then we're gonna do our thing.
So yeah, Burt Kreischer has been telling this machine story. I'm kind of a fan of everybody that's kind of involved in that same world. There's a lot of guys that are real close to each other. Joe Rogan, Burt Kreischer, Tom Segura, all those guys are kind of in the same world. And Burt was on Joe's podcast once upon a time and told that machine story. And Joe was like, you need to make that a stand-up bit. And he told that as a stand-up bit. And it starts off with him telling that stand-up bit. And like, it's in the movie where he's just being like, when I was 22 years old, I got involved with the Russian mafia. This is how it happened. So it's a stand-up bit.
Yep.
And then he basically just like pitched it and turned it into a movie. Yeah. And that's basically what it becomes. It's the story of, in the short of it is when he was involved with the Russian mafia.
Oh, and we're going to go full spoilers on this too. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely, well, then just shut off this part of the podcast because we're going in.
And currently, right now, this one's not much of a spoiler. You learn it relatively quick. Eventually, I guess it's still kind of a spoiler. But what you learn is that he took a watch when he was involved with the Russian mafia, because basically the Russian mafia, he drank with them, they loved him, and then they fucking robbed the train is what they normally do, and then he was like involved with it, didn't really want to, but what the fuck are you gonna do? The Russian mafia is making you rob this train with him now. And he took a watch, and it ended up being very important to
it's like Keanu. I'm looking for a real gangsta cat. Like the watch is like the center point of the story.
Yeah, exactly. And that's basically the short of it.
Premise of the movie.
The premise of the movie
and to go quick on a thing, or like a little more on that, is it's Burt's true story about him and getting involved with the Russian mafia or whatever when he's a kid, and the stand-up bit that it turns into. And then it's like a fictional exaggeration of Burt's life, kind of.
Right.
And then a story that unfolds after that, which is a fictional story that he wrote. Like, the movie's a fictional story.
Right.
Because of the adventure that him and his dad go on.
Exactly.
But it's based on like This is where if a horror movie was doing this, it would have based on true events underneath the title.
Right.
Because horror movies love that shit. But that's for the Halloween episode. Don't get into that.
Yeah. Right. But yeah. So from what he says in his stand-up bit, that it is true that he like drank with the Russian mafia, and then they did end up robbing the train. But the exaggerated part is that now here we're getting into a lot of spoilers.
Yeah, now here we go. Jump in.
This is for sure spoilers. That he ended up stealing this watch. The watch ends up being belonging to the father of what essentially becomes the mob boss now.
Right.
And his daughter is trying to get it back because she's trying to take over the family, and she ends up having a couple of different siblings, and the whole movie is basically Burt gets brought on this ride by this woman trying to find the watch, and it turns out they're all looking for the watch. So Burt is kind of a hot ticket item, and she happens to be the first person. Do you remember her name?
No, because it was the most fucking Russian thing I've ever heard. It was so funny. It was like Ivanta Vankadunk Vichkevin.
Oh, yes, it is something like that. You're right. That sounded actually pretty close when you said it. Yeah. And I know one of her brother's name was Alexei.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But then the other brother that's like all jacked. My wife likes that. Do you know Matt Rife?
That doesn't sound familiar. No.
Stand-up comedian, fucking handsome ass kid, and all the bitches love him because he's just handsome. And then he's also funny.
Yeah.
So you got like he
hot,
blew
funny
up
dude.
Crazy. He blew up fast on the internet and went from like not being a well-known to like now he's selling out like theaters everywhere he goes.
He Dane cooked it.
Yeah, exactly what happened. Yeah, so he's Dane cooking it.
Nice.
And
good for him.
I seen that big dude, and I just was I told Shannon, I was just like, that guy is like if your boy Matt Rife and Vanilla Ice had a baby, because he had like that platinum blonde hair, and it's like wafted up perfect.
But yeah, it was like kind of Vanilla Icy,
jacked and handsome, and you're just like, all right. Yeah. But yeah, dude, it ended up being a pretty good movie. At the beginning, it kind of started out slow because I think part of the problem is that it feels like very smug because it is a very self-centered. Well, I think is what it kind of feels like. I didn't necessarily think that it was, but also that's I like Burt, but that's one of my least favorite traits of his. Is how he absolutely will not shut the fuck up about himself.
Yeah.
Which sometimes I think about myself and I'm like, fuck, do I not like it because I do that shit sometimes? And I'm just like, I don't.
Is a certain extent though, right? There's extremes on this of like, not extremes, but there are certain times and places where you have to be selfish or where you have to present yourself to a new crowd, or like you have to be a little bit more you than you're used to being in order for people to understand who you are. And it's like Burt and Tom hang out all the time on Two Bears. They're like best friends, and Burt still like dominates the conversation about himself too often.
There are jokes all the time about how Tom like never gets to talk, and when Burt is gone and Tom has like a guest bear on, Tom oftentimes starts the podcast and he's just like, "Oh, this is so nice! I get to talk today," and just like shits all over him, and they shit all over each other all the time and stuff.
Yeah, because they're good buddies. That's like it's the way they grew up. It's how they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that does come across a little bit, but it's like that's just who Burt is. He is a very self-centered person. I mean, that's kind of the same thing that like with a lot of comics are though. It's I
Right.
got stuff to tell. I'm funny. Listen to me.
Right.
We're kind of the same way.
Right.
We have a podcast.
Yep.
We're talking to you.
Yep.
Listen to what I have to say. It's kind of
Yeah.
the same shit a little bit,
Sure.
but yeah, it just come like telling the story and everything. I think the reason I'm bringing this up too is because I chatted with you about it. This is one of the most lopsided Rotten Tomatoes I've ever seen.
Oh,
it has
dude,
a 33%.
When you showed me that, I was like, what?
Yeah, it's 33% of the critics liked it.
Yeah.
So it's got like that green like smushed tomato side.
Yep.
87% of users liked it.
Yeah.
So the majority of real people that watched
like
it,
that
a lot of his
90,
fans,
dude?
I'm sure, are the people that are saying that they loved it too.
Right.
But like that close to 90, 87% is a very good number on Rotten Tomatoes. I think anything over, what is it? Anything over 75 is,
I was just going to say, I think a
fresh.
70 something is good. Yeah.
It might even be over 60. I don't remember for sure.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure either, but
and then
it's very high
critics,
score.
If the critics like it and the users like it, then it gets that like certified fresh stamp.
Right.
But 87% of the viewers liked it, 33% of the critics like it. And when you like look at their reviews, they're like, oh, it's this and that and all this other shit. And you're like, listen, I don't think it was the greatest movie in the world.
No.
But it was put together well.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit of time going in the first half because you got to put together a storyline. You can't just jump into anything.
Right.
I do think that some of the jokes in the beginning were a little bit cornier than they did get at the end.
For sure.
So there was a couple of times where
but they were, I still thought they were funny because they were setting up like Dad Burt.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, when you put it like that definitely was him as a dad. But there were a couple of jokes that like got me good. Like I laughed pretty good at a couple of them. Yeah. So it was, there were moments. Like
in the beginning or the whole movie now?
At the beginning. There was one at the beginning.
Yeah, you tell me.
Where it was at that party.
Uh-huh.
And what was that lady? I can't remember what even was said. But he was talking about how that mom that he doesn't like.
Yep. And I even got moms that don't like me to come.
Yeah, and then he goes, "Hi, whatever," and says it like right after he says it.
Hi, Mackenzie's mom or whatever.
Yeah, Mackenzie's mom. And he's walking past, and she said something about just like, "Oh, where's this or whatever." She said, "Where's the whatever?" Mm-hmm. And he just goes, "Where's your husband?" Because she's like recently divorced.
Oh shit! I missed that one.
Yeah, throws it back in her face like immediately. I'm like, oh damn. Yeah, but he's funny like that too. Like in his stand up, he's got a joke about kind of talking about that stuff where he's talking about the booze. He's like, the booze makes me brave. He's like, he was talking about one of his wife's friends that'll count the beers that he's drinking.
Oh, okay.
And he'll go crack another one. She'll just be like, "That's 7." And they're just like, huh. Uh-huh. And then you just be like, his brain is like, "Go call her a fat pig." He's like, "No, we can't do that." And then he's like this alternate personality. It's just be like, "Keep drinking. I'll fucking do it."
Oh, that's so good. One of my favorite jokes in the whole movie is near the end. And it's just so funny to me. And I'll just say it. And then, obviously it'll come out why it's so funny. He just goes, Shit, hold on. I got to think of the exact words because what you just said is now infiltrating my
shit.
Yeah, is infiltrating my brain because that's it's another fat joke, and he goes, "Oh, I know what he says." He goes, "Yeah, well, one day me and my big fat friend Tom, we were getting really hammered."
Yeah.
He just throws that in there, and he does that, like, whether he improv'd it because he knew Tom was going to read or not, but it's so funny just knowing him and Tom's relationship that he had to throw that in there. He just
my big fat friend Tom.
He had to throw it in there. He just had to do it. It's so fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that was 100% for like the fans of both of them, just to be like,
totally,
oh
right?
shit, he shit on Tom in his fucking movie.
Right.
And Tom does it back constantly.
Tom does it
back constantly. Yeah. When
like during podcasts?
During the podcast, if Burt's gone, he always intros the thing. He just be like, yeah, Burt's getting that surgery because he had to have his foot removed. Sadly, the diabetes got to it. But it's just like bullshit. None of it's real, but he's like constantly making fun of each other for how fat they are. And now Tom is skinny, so it's funny. My big fat friend Tom, and that was recorded when Tom was bigger, and now he's not. So it's like, oh, you missed on that one, Burt.
It's still funny.
It is funny. I know. I think it's funny too because it's still back and forth. But yeah, dude, there's a couple of different. Huge spoiler alert right here because there's two of my favorite jokes in the movie.
Okay,
was that one where he's like going to fight and he's like, "Oh, from Florida State, all we do is fight, drink, and fuck, and I can't fuck for shit."
Yep. Yeah, I love that.
But the funny thing is he's such an egomaniac when he's on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
He will talk about himself, talking about how he just fucking laid it down with his wife. He's like, "Oh, dude, I was fucking in the zone. I was just fucking giving it to her." And you're just like, and they'll be like, "Really?"
Actually talks about that.
Oh, it's so weird how he talks himself up so crazy sometimes. And they all talk about it too. He's got this crazy confidence that's just insane. It's nuts. He's an odd duck. He's constantly pitching ideas. He's constantly talking about how good he is. He came up with the idea of the Mickey Mantle gene. And I don't really know the whole backstory on that, but he talks like he's got this gene that just makes him like above everybody else. Like he doesn't have to try. And some of the stuff is absolutely insane that he can do. He is he's like an athlete that doesn't really try a lot, but he has the ability to do stuff.
Really?
Like he played, I think he played collegiate baseball and then dropped, like wanted to party more. So stopped doing that. But like
there's a quick reference joke in, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Where he says it real fast.
Yeah. Because it's like cut scene and he comes walking in and he's like, "Yeah, if I didn't sprain my thumb on that dog's face, I would have probably made it into the bigs."
As the younger him.
Yeah.
But yeah. The true story is like, he just didn't want to keep going basically. Right.
Which is just another point to the like exaggeration, even though Burt probably really told that story like that.
Yeah.
To pump himself up. It's just, it's a point to the movie is the movie's fiction.
Yeah.
Like
for sure.
But it's funny. And it doesn't matter.
Fiction, but there's points that are real.
But it's like, based on true events again. Like
for sure. Based on based on a true event, and then they exaggerated a story off of that. So all the other stuff is kind of fake.
Yep.
But he was able to he can still like smash home runs, I guess. He went out and he was like trying to tell people, like showing how to adjust their swing or whatever, but he can smash home runs.
Whoa.
He ran a marathon without training.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I think he did it in like 5 hours or something, which is like a lot of running and then a lot of walking, but it's still like unheard of.
That's crazy.
And he's overweight too. He just like did it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
what the fuck?
it's pretty crazy. Like he has the ability to do shit that you shouldn't be able to do.
Huh.
But at the same, so he has this crazy weird shit that he can back up with his confidence and stuff. And then like even in the fight scenes and stuff, like
Yeah.
it looked legit. He didn't look like somebody that can't do stuff. He did what he was supposed to do.
And I'm pretty sure he was. I mean, there are parts obviously that there's stunt people for, but I mean, he did the.
Oh yeah,
what
there are parts that there are. Speaking of fat people, there's that scene where he's like falling down the hill in the woods where he's just rolling, and I'm like, oh, I bet that stuntman loved being the stuntman for a fat guy. He had all that cushion as he's flopping down that fucking hill. I could just see it real quick in the cut, and I was just like, oh, that was definitely a smaller man in a fat suit. Just like perfect. I can't believe that the lead in this action movie is a fucking fat guy. I just get to wear this puffy suit.
That guy weighs fucking 120 pounds more than me. This is perfect. I get to put on a fat suit.
Right. These other skinny guys are just killing me. I gotta just put on a fucking suit coat and go do it.
Right. Go fall down some stairs.
Yeah.
To fucking wear a fat suit and roll down the woods.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, they definitely took some liberties with it. Those aren't his kids' names, which I thought was weird. He uses Tom's real name, and he doesn't use the kid's real name, which I understand, I guess. But at the same time, like anybody that's a fan of his and listens to the podcast or listens to his like stuff,
right?
I know his kids' names. I know his wife's name,
right?
And
I seen his kids because he brought him on the podcast. Hey, Tony Hawk's gonna be on. You're like,
oh yeah,
they are.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy shit. She's been. I don't really listen to Burt's podcast too much unless he's got on a guest that I want to hear him talk with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of just listening to Burt talk by himself.
Yeah,
I like the dynamic that it brings when he's with other people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But just by himself, I'm not really interested.
I tried to listen to him on Poopies, like just to put my fandom. Like Burt's awesome. He's funny. I remember watching stand up and getting to the machine part and all that stuff. But I tried to watch him with Poopies.
Yeah.
I just turned it off.
Oh yeah.
There's dominated it. I mean, Poopies isn't that good of an interviewer anyway.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a shy guy. He seems to be like socially shy a little bit until he gets the ability to be weird about it.
Oh, sure.
And so when you're just sitting down and talking to him, he feels awkward anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Oh, and then you just have Burt, right? Like you have Burt's strong personality up against that. And there was just like, it was like Burt was hanging out in the room and they were drinking too. And he brought a bartender.
Yeah. See, and he's just, it's like, today I have, it's almost like today it shouldn't be like today we have Poopies on the podcast. It's like today Poopies is going to listen to me tell stories. It's just like, yeah, okay, just let your fucking guests talk sometimes. It's,
Oh no, this was Poopies this was Poopies podcast.
Oh, it was Poopies podcast.
Yeah, he had Burt on as a guest.
Dude, I'll check that out. I didn't know Poopies had a podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. You'll have more time to listen to it than me. I didn't jump back to it. You let me know.
I like Poopies, but he's an odd duck. Yeah, it does seem to be like the podcast I've listened to. He kind of needed somebody steering the ship. So I don't know. Yeah, well, I'll check it out, see what it's like.
Yeah,
but
report back.
Yeah,
so anyways,
dude, there was a couple of smart things that they did in this movie that I really enjoyed from a directorial standpoint. Which is not the same that I can say for Spiral, which is a callback to last week and a little preview for next week, because I'll touch on that next week. Mm-hmm. That's the Chris Rock horror movie.
It's called Spiral.
Yes, it's called Spiral.
Okay.
I watched it. It has some real flaws. Yeah, so we'll talk about that next week.
Okay.
And I brought it up last week when we were talking about stand-up. Was that last week? I think.
Yeah. So last episode,
Yeah.
you say last week,
Yeah.
but I know what you mean.
Last episode.
But yeah, last episode we were talking about stand up. We brought up Chris Rock, and we talked about, and you said you thought it was Jigsaw, and I said, yeah, that's definitely a Saw movie.
Yes.
And then now you know it's Spiral. Okay.
Yes, Spiral, and it's based off of it, so it's a little bit of a like spin-off.
Okay.
But anyways, the directorial stuff, dude. Did you notice? I really enjoyed how they did it, where that lead blonde lady, she's that badass, hair's down. She's just like, do not fuck with me, you know, kind of shit.
Yep.
Then she gets to a point where she gets injured. It makes her vulnerable. After they heal her up, they put her in this like unassuming brown thing. They fucking put her hair up like Princess Leia. They make her likable with how they're telling the story and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then you're just like, oh damn, dude, nice job just being like, we need people to like her.
Yeah.
Completely change her image for a couple of scenes and soften everything about her.
Right. Yeah.
She starts talking about Urkel and talking about her family.
Yep.
And they're kind of, you know, palling around.
Yeah.
You know, I shot that one. It was 2 bullets, 3. Oh, it was like 1 bullet I shot, but 3 bullets killed 3 guys. And then all of a sudden she's like, top 5 kills all my life. High five. Like, comes and just like, hell yeah. So now all of a sudden she's likable and stuff. So and then it was shortly after that, you're like, she needs to be a badass again. Right back to hair down, same outfit.
Yeah. Yep.
That like tank, I can't be stopped type mentality.
Yep.
And it was just like, that was
good
smart.
Point, dude. That's really good noticing that, because I did, but I didn't. You know what I mean?
Right. It's something that you just kind of like look over it. But as I'm watching it, like I'm very critical about shit, you know? So there's a lot of times where I can be taken out of a movie completely over the littlest shit.
Sure.
And this was, you know, a comedy that wasn't true. I knew it was going to be different. I wasn't too nervous about anything.
Yeah.
You know, if there was something that was like blatantly like, that doesn't make any fucking sense, I'd just be like, did you notice that part? That was dumb as shit, huh? But it's not, it wasn't really like that in all of this. And
not a lot of the too much over the top trying to get you to laugh.
Oops.
Shit either.
Yeah.
Like I thought they were just good jokes. Like there was the one part that was way over the top, and I was laughing at it because it was so over the top, but also just really funny.
Yeah.
When that dude gets his neck slit right behind him.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and he's like, oh shit. What do I do? Because it wasn't deep enough. You know, the guy doesn't just bleed out and fall over. What do I do? What do I do? I don't know.
And he starts coming back.
Hit him.
Yeah.
He fucking punches into the opening in his neck, and now his hand is in the fucking neck of this dude.
He punches his throat. Yeah. And then the Russian girl is just like, oh shit, it's like you're fisting his throat.
And then his dad goes, maybe it's like a jar of pickles. Just let go of the pickles. Open your hand.
Yeah, just open your hand. Let go of the pickles.
Dad, it's not a fucking jar of pickles.
Right. Yeah.
Did you see who his dad was? Did you notice?
So not only did I notice, I knew it right away. So I knew it because of the podcast and stuff. I knew it before I even seen the movie. Been
behind the scenes.
But the funny thing is, so the funny thing is we're sitting there and we start up the movie and Shannon's like, are those his real kids and wife? And I just go, no. Like his wife's name is Leanne, and I'm just like, Leanne doesn't, you know, that's in my opinion, his wife in this movie is quite a bit hotter than his wife in real life. And I was just like, isn't that kind of crazy though? He's just like a comedian, like doesn't seem to be like really an actor, and now he's just like making out with another girl on camera. Like just seems weird, you know? Just like to be that you're not like an actor by trade. And now you've made this movie and now you're kissing a person that's not your wife. And she actually was like cool with it. They've talked about that on the podcast too. But while we're sitting there, she's like, are those all the real? And I go, no. And she goes, then that's not his real dad. And I go, and I just kind of give her a look and she's like, what? How am I supposed to know? And I go, well, because that's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, it's because no, Luke Skywalker is not Burt's dad. That's why.
Right, yeah. So yeah, when that came out, I was just like, and she goes, "Oh, I didn't notice that." Just like, yeah, no, it's no big deal. It's like whatever, but yeah,
That's
but
great.
yeah, the scene, like a lot of that shit on the train, when it started ramping up was when they really started hitting them with all the jokes and stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, before we get into the train stuff, though, I got to ask, because we're talking about the like real family and all this stuff. Is the story true? Like, is the kickoff story? Because like, there's a, the daughter thing. Is that for reals? That him and Tom were getting fucked up, and he live streamed, and no, that part is all okay. Because I was like, how in the fuck would I not know that about Burt? Like,
yeah,
I'm a decent enough fan of stand-up comedy in general and Burt, and like how would this crazy thing go unknown?
My theory is there's a possibility of his daughter did get mad at him, so there is some truth, but he completely fabricated some other kind of story to try to like pull at the heartstrings of people and really like up the stakes.
Well, yeah, it had to be. Like, again, this isn't a fucking documentary. This is an exaggeration. So that's all I wanted to know. I just wanted to or that's all I was trying to point out. I don't think it's like makes the movie shitty or makes Burt stupid for doing it at all. I think that it's just.
Yeah,
I just want to know if it was real, because.
Right. Yeah, I think he up the stakes to be like. I'm just saying from like a directorial like script,
from a writer
view of just being like, we want her to get mad, but we want it to be believable, and we want people to be able to like be on her side a little bit, not to just be like, oh, he said some stuff that hurt her feelings, like he got her into some serious trouble, just being like, oh, okay, that makes 100% sense why she's pissed.
Right.
But in reality, I think he's got a bit where he talks about her getting her period, and she did actually get mad about that. So I think that's, I think there was a little phase of she was pissed off at him, like, don't fucking talk to me.
Right.
All my friends, is talking about you talking about me getting my fucking period.
Right.
So I think there was that moment. But yeah, dude, when it got to the train and when it got to like the real action and everybody's, getting shot up and all this other shit, it gets entertaining for sure. I really liked the action scenes because they were, even though they were kind of like unbelievable, they did a good job and they were still believable,
Yeah, they were totally action movie scenes, and that's what was was good about it.
Yeah, because the action scenes, a lot of times you're still like, bullshit. How are they gonna hit everybody? The only thing I didn't like was in the casino. I've seen enough fucking videos on the internet. You shoot at somebody from 10 feet away with a fucking automatic weapon, you're hitting them. And they're firing in the casino.
Yeah, it was totally action movie shit, right?
Yeah, just you can't.
Or they had to make it extreme and like make sure that the mafia feels badass. Like,
right.
Yeah, it was totally action movie. It just that's all there was to it, to me.
Yeah,
like that's just your stereotype action movie.
Yeah,
the villains are firing automatic weapons.
Yeah,
and the protagonist has a 9mm, pops around the corner, pow, with one shot done.
Right.
Okay, I'm just gonna shoot him in the leg.
Right, I'm just gonna shoot him in the leg. Ends up hitting him in the head.
Right
he falls down. He falls down and like tenses up and shoots 2, and it just randomly kills 3 fucking guys. Oh,
so good.
Yeah, and the I liked the little fucking jabs he was throwing at people as they were fighting too. So it was like a legitimate fight scene, but then there was like humor to it as well.
Yeah.
That one guy like swings at him and he like grabs the thing. He's like, "Oh, I got your stick," and then he keeps fighting and stuff. But dude, did you laugh? The hardest laugh I had of the whole thing is because when I get hit with a joke that I don't see coming is when I laugh the hardest.
Yeah.
And the hardest laugh I had of the whole movie was like climax
Okay.
right at the end with the whole mob scene with so I know we've been dropping spoiler alerts a lot, but definitely this is the biggest spoiler because basically this is the ending of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want the ending ruined, shut this shit off now because I'm about to say it. But right at the end where the dad is just like, you are not going to be
God, this
the mob
was
boss.
the best joke. I laughed so
you are
fucking
not going to
hard,
be
dude.
the mob boss. I should precursor this to anybody wondering how this works. When I was talking about with her braids and stuff, she was talking about
You
how
said it.
Steve Urkel, don't sleep on Steve Urkel. And then that kid, like right before they go to bed, he's like, got any cheese? She's like, oh, he watched it. Just like, hell yeah, that was cool. But like right at the end of the movie, so they're talking about, she's like, or the dad's like, you're not going to be the mob boss. You got to take, however he says it.
Yeah, he's like, you got to be a wolf.
Like,
you got to be a killer.
Yeah.
If you don't.
Yeah, you got to, it's kill or be killed.
Yep.
Yeah.
So your brother gets the empire.
Yeah. And basically he was, telling her, because he even smirks a little bit when she just gets pissed off and she's like, no, fuck you. And then she shoots him, kills the dad. He drops. And then they all start like bowing around her.
Yeah.
It's like a slow thing where they all start like,
yeah, she's kind of holding her arms out with the gun. Like, is anybody else is anybody going to come at me now that I just did that?
Right. Yep. And they all start bending the knee because they're just like, this is our new mob boss.
Yep.
Bow down to her. And like all of a sudden, like the camera pulls back on her. She whips around, looks at Burt, and she just goes, did I do that?
It was so good. Oh shit. Well, I'm watching Family Matters when we get back.
Right. It just fucking this super serious moment.
Good. It was so good because you do not see it coming, and then wham.
not at all.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Oh,
dude.
I loved it. Between that and the neck one, those are my two favorite because I just didn't see the neck thing coming. I just didn't see the neck thing coming, and I ain't never seen that before.
Yeah,
it was just funny to me. It was just that.
I wish that I wouldn't have seen the like when he threw up and put it in his pocket on the trailer, because that was pretty funny too. But it was ruined on the trailer.
Oh,
where
I didn't
he was
see
like
it.
when she had she had the leg in the stick in her leg.
Oh yeah,
and he goes to pull the stick out of it, and he's like, "Oh, so," and he ends up like throwing up a little bit into his hand. And she's like, "Oh, don't throw up or whatever." And he has the barf, and he takes the barf that's in his hand and he like puts it in his pocket. And she's like, "Did you just put that in your pocket?" And he's just like, "I don't know what to do with
it." I missed that part. I remember that part. I remember everything alongside that joke. So I got interrupted during that. Shit.
Yeah, he just puts the puke in his pocket. Yeah. And then it's just like a back and forth. She's just like, "I think I'm going to throw up." Like after he puts the puke in his pocket.
Yeah.
And she's like, he's like, "Don't puke. If you puke, I puke. If you puke, I puke. Don't puke. It's just back and forth.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden
he passes out.
Well, he doesn't. I don't know. Does he pass out? That other guy comes in the door.
Oh, okay.
Igor comes in the door and immediately just goes and pukes as soon as he sees the stick sticking out of her leg. But it's like, come on. I know that was meant to be a joke and they're just kind of doing some like slapstick humor, but
right.
These people did some like terrible shit with the mafia.
Right. Yeah.
To act like they haven't seen a stick in a leg before.
Right. Yeah. 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 It was totally some slapstick humor that I totally glossed over it. You're right.
Yeah.
I just think it was, I do remember the cut though, that guy, he just walks in and
yeah,
the suddenness of all of like how it happens.
Yeah.
The actor did a good job. It was the actor and the editing that made that last part funny.
The whole thing once they get into the like really meat and potatoes of Russia, like it really gets better after he gets abducted and they go and they start getting into the whole thing. Like there's just so many like subtle jokes that are just like weird, what the hell, that like made me kind of giggle.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he's leaving that village and they hand they're about to leave and that car is just to the gills with fucking weapons, and the one woman hands him like a whole raw chicken on
Just
like a
freshly
stick.
feathered dead chicken.
And he's just like, thank you. And he like turns around and he like turns to Igor as he's putting it in. He's like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this
What
chicken?
the hell am I supposed to do with the dead chicken?
But
also how that scene opens for me, the exact same scene you're talking about. It opens, it cuts to that scene and the van door opens.
Yeah.
And Burt saying bye to everybody. So door opens up. Sorry about your bathroom. And it was just, I just thought it was funny just because like that's where we caught him in the conversation, was him apologizing for destroying someone's shitter. Like,
right.
I just thought it was funny. Again, it was the editing.
Yeah.
And I love those transition jokes. They're so funny.
Yeah. There's a lot of jokes like that. It's and then just because you just roll with like what other people say, like there's just jokes that were like nicely done along, like when, so earlier in that movie, that woman gets shot and we're kind of led to believe that she's dead. Spoiler alert. Again, obviously this whole fucking part has been. She's not. And they like find her and she's in like an old school wagon, like a rickety big wooden wagon in some straw. And they're just like, if we find this whore. And they come over and he's just like, oh shit, I know this whore. And that lady leans in and she's just like, do you want to buy the whore for the fucking?
Yeah.
And like half dead lady, shot a couple of times in the stomach, has a stick through her leg, and this woman's offering to sell her.
Yep.
And you're just like, damn. And he's just like, Igor, like, have me get her inside. I know this whore.
I know he keeps going with it. I do. I love a joke like that too. Yeah. So good. Oh my god. One thing before we cut, because we gotta cut off here. One thing before we go. The dude who plays young Burt.
Oh yeah.
He's fucking hilarious, dude. It's Jimmy Tatro. Thank you.
Yep.
I think he's funny.
Yeah.
I like his voice. And he can, I don't know. I just like his voice. I think it's funny. Yeah, I think he's funny. And
he's up in it.
Where I thought he was really funny, like the first time I seen him, it was really funny, was another Netflix thing. Oh, not that this is Netflix. This is just Sony renting it to Netflix for The Machine. American Vandal was, and I'm pretty sure that's a Netflix original. It was like a series. It was a mockumentary.
I don't know.
And Jimmy,
really?
Yeah, Jimmy's in it, and it's a high school. It's about a high school class, and it's a mockumentary about a true crime thing.
Yeah.
He was so fucking funny, dude. He was very funny in it. And the premise around it is just like, who sprayed the dick on the wall?
Nice.
And everybody blames Jimmy's character because he's like the dumb jock kid troublemaker who would do it or whatever, It's like, I didn't spray the dick on the wall.
Yeah.
He's really funny in it.
I'll have to check that one out because it shows that it's 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb, so it looks like it's a decent show.
Yeah.
I just checked his IMDb real quick because I was like, I know him from something else. He was in 22 Jump Street.
Yeah.
He was like one of the classmates or whatever. I don't or maybe he was on the football team.
Yeah, I can't remember where he was in 22 because we watched 21 so many times.
Yeah, I don't remember for sure, but I know that he was in it. I think maybe he was one of the people in. Oh, I think now I know. I'm pretty sure that he was one of the people in the frat when they had to do their whole initiation
hazing and whatever.
Yeah, hazing deal.
Okay, probably.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was in that frat. Yeah,
Yep.
that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he might have even ran it. I think he might have been the lead of the.
Yeah,
the
again,
frat they were
we've
trying to
watched
get
21
into.
Jump Street so many times, I
Yeah.
forget 22 Jump
Yeah.
Street because just haven't watched that one as much.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm not fully sure. But he's funny.
100%. Yeah, that's 100% what I knew him from, because I was just like, I definitely know him. I just don't remember from what.
Oh, okay.
And now that I see it, I'm like, yep, that's what it's from. So
Yeah.
I'll definitely have to check out that other show.
Yeah.
When I'm done with everything else I got going. I have like 4 different series that I'm still in the middle of. But I suppose that one is probably one that I could watch without Shannon. So maybe I'll get on that one.
Yeah,
the other
she might find
it
funny, but I mean, it's a mockumentary. It's funny. It's funny,
Right.
but either way. Yeah, man. Okay, we've gone long on this one. This is another long podcast. We've gone decently long on this topic. I know that we'll definitely be talking more offline with it, but let's do the things that we got to do because it's a podcast, and say like and subscribe and all that stuff. Okay, that's all, guys. Seriously though, go over to youtube.com/@realaftv and give us a subscribe. Thank you for boosting the videos again. Man, we had a couple episodes there that just went for some reason, and now we're back on that upward trend. It's really nice. We like to see that. It feels good, makes us stay motivated and keep going. Hopefully we stay on that trend as we get into special season. If you are new to Real AF TV, it is time to get into the holiday specials. Oh yeah. Those are coming up, so keep an eye out for that, and astray from the typical fishing random takes flow. Tim, what else? I'm done.
I don't know what else.
All right. Well, that's a wrap. Call it a wrap. Oh man, I was gonna clap and like try to do the clapboard thing, but I got the boom arm now.
Oh. I did it.
And there it is. That's a wrap.
That boom arm comes from the back.
Yeah. And so that actually, remember me